Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the show. It is Tuesday. We've got a good show planned for you today. We are going to be discussing a few topics. First and foremost, we're going to be doing a live reaction to the Kamala Harris town hall on Univision. If you don't know what Univision is, that is the Spanish channel or the Latino channel where Harris stood in front of a group of Latinos who asked her questions and she answered them. So we're going to have a live reaction because you guys love when we do these live reactions. We're also going to talk about a very interesting developing story in regards to Tim Walz. Apparently, there is a channel on Twitter or an account on Twitter that has been dropping some very interesting information about some accusations that this person is in contact with, has made against Tim Walz in regards to some inappropriate sexual behavior he made. And this young person, or was young at the time, is a young man. So we will get into that story and everything we know about that. We're also going to be talking about the now very viral Kamala's blackmail agenda. If you haven't seen it, she has pandered to black men once again. If you wait long enough and withhold your vote, you might get a free pair of Nikes or Jordans out of it. We'll see. But we are going to break that down for you and give you our thoughts. And then last but not least, we are going to be talking about Van Miller, who is the man who was accused of an attempted third assassination on former President Trump at the Coachella Valley Trump rally a couple days ago. And we're also going to be having Carmen, who, if you guys don't follow her on Instagram, I think her account is Spicy Street Combos or Carmen Official. She's got two accounts, but either way, she's going to be coming on the show a little bit later because she actually has a connection to Ven, and she is going to tell us everything that she knows. She's had some conversations with him, and Ven himself has also spoken out and denied the allegations that he was trying to sneak in an attempt to harm former President Trump. So those are the topics we have for you today. You guys know the drill. Please make sure you grab a snack, hit up that bathroom, and we are going to be starting the show right now. I hope.
You are now tuned into Somewhere in the Middle with Soonie and Mo.
Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey.
Hey, Don on the beat.
I got so many ops.
Everywhere I go, I
got so many ops.
so many ops.
I know they plotting against me. I know it's hate, they wanna kill me, but please don't tempt me, cause I got so many Glocks. Hey, ain't none of them empty. Jesus said they would hate me too. That's how I know it's envy. I got so many ops. I know they plotting against me. I know it's hate, they trying to kill me, but please don't tempt me, cause I got so many.
Man, I let you take the wheel and see what happens.
First of all, how did I know you were going to come and do that? How did I know?
Come and do what?
It was like 2 seconds. 2 seconds. I didn't put the wrong intro up. I was stuffing my. Listen, I'm eating. Okay,
it's a button, Soonie. Listen, you can't put black people in charge of shit because they just fuck it up. They just fuck it up.
Have nice things. It's fine.
What? Listen, I'm taking the intro back, people. Next week, be rest assured that I'm going to be in charge of starting that intro again.
This is crazy that you're acting this way.
Because I'll just tell you, behind the scenes, Soonie was like, "Hey, don't worry, I'll press the intro," and I'm thinking it's going to be hella smooth. I'm sitting there looking like a schmuck. Like a knucklehead.
A schmuck for literally 2 seconds.
I look like a knucklehead. I'm sitting there with a grin on my face.
Why are you so dramatic? Oh my god. You're so dramatic. Anyways, what's up, guys?
Shout out to Soonie's background. She has.
You guys dig in the background? I like it. I have the whole setup now, guys. I have no choice but to be successful from this point on.
That's right. That's right. Did anybody give that to you is my question. Like, was that donated from like Kamala Harris's campaign? Did they hand it over to you? What's the deal? How did you afford that? Let's just get into that right now.
Well, my mother, who makes 6 figures, she's a school counselor
Yeah.
decided to give me a birthday gift.
Oh, that's nice.
Purchased this lovely thing behind me. You can't see it, but there's like this big old green sheet behind me in a room full of boxes.
Yeah. I've seen it. No, I've seen it. We were testing it last time. This is the first time seeing this background, so it's cool. I like this background. Because yesterday it was a different background, but this one's cool. I like it.
Yeah, I'm in a nice office. I got the neon lights
loft.
behind me. Yeah, a loft.
Yeah.
No one knows where I am, and it's a nice. Does anybody else love days like this, or is that just me? Is that like the emo side of me? The emo side of me. I have a very emo side to me. Just fun fact for people who don't know. I do.
To me, that's weather to get creative in.
No,
you know what I mean?
Weather to like sit back and chill and ponder on life.
Yeah. That's true. Well, I'm glad you got your green screen. Look out, because I just might get one too, and then you never know what's going to show up in my background.
I'm scared.
Truth be told, Soonie would have to make it for me because I don't know how to do all that.
David being there frustrated. I quit.
I know. I quit. Hey, shout out to my camera because it's fixed, you guys.
It is fixed. You guys notice?
Yes. I'm not dragging anymore. I'm in real time. I bet you guys are happy. Anyway, shout out to all the people that are watching. Let us know where you're watching from. I see that we have a few people on here. If you guys are new to here, or you're from TikTok, which I know we
are live on TikTok.
Oh, we're live on TikTok. Okay, well, if anybody's over on the YouTube from TikTok, if you guys want to comment, you got to come over to the YouTube so that everybody can see it. But welcome to everybody from TikTok. I'm excited. I'm excited.
This is the second full show that we've done on TikTok.
Yeah.
And you guys don't understand how much a desk like makes your show so much smoother. Just a desk.
Yeah. And lighting.
Crazy.
Right? Like I'm telling you, like just to have like a professional setting changes it for you, because it like gets your creative juices flowing.
You feel like you got to rise to the occasion. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't rise before, but I have more incentive. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
She was rising, but I like seeing Soonie in bright lights. Like we can see her in full form instead of like shady. She's got like her hat on. We can't see her. It's like dark. You know, she's like a creature of the night.
Is that what I look like in Japan? Just kind of like in the shadows a bit?
Yeah, you were like in the shadows of Japan, really? Just like shady.
Well, you know what? I've been told lots of times you are much prettier in person. So maybe these lights will accentuate what I actually look like. Do I look any different, guys? Can you see my pores?
Get close. Get close.
Can you see?
I'm not going to get that close because y'all can see my pores and I'm not trying to. Y'all already beat up on me enough with my forehead being too big. Oh,
man. Marlandon goes in on you.
Yeah. It's not Marlandon that talks about me. There's another guy on here that always talks
about your forehead.
Yeah.
He says weird stuff about me too, though. Don't single yourself out.
Yeah, he does. I love him, but I love everybody who watches us. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about. Yeah. Before we do get into it, are we still doing a live reaction to the Trump town hall tomorrow?
I would love to.
I'm going to see if it's actually live or if it's going to be pre-recorded and released. And then if it is, then we'll do it live. Okay. Well, let's start since this whole, so leading up to the election, which is coming up soon, you guys, we have like 3 weeks or less. I know early voting here starts October 21st. I'm going to be there on October 21st. But we are committed to doing shows that are going to educate you guys whichever way. So if you are a Harris Wall supporter or you're a Trump supporter that watches us, we welcome everybody, and we want to do shows that are geared towards educating you and maybe fact checking a little bit more, debunking some, theories that are going around, like, what's the tax plan? What is so-and-so's position on this and what's true and what isn't? because it's not just about developing an opinion, but also learning how to go and research the candidate a little bit further to see that, what they're actually saying is what they're actually going to do, because there's a difference. There's a difference. So we'll start off with talking about the town hall that Kamala did with Univision, which I was just like without words. I was furious.
You were furious. Really?
I'm gonna comment. What did you say, Soonie? That I had to bring out my, what'd you say?
What?
You said my identity politics or something like that.
Oh yeah, I said you should capitalize, because you really don't hear from like your community like that unless you're Exit. That's really the only representation for Latinos, right? So I said use that, make your voice heard, and let people know what you think. Because I'm gonna be honest, man, I couldn't get through it all. I've watched so many full episodes of Kamala that I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't.
It's like Trump, right? Like it's the same thing when you watch Trump stuff. Like it's regurgitated. There might be different things that happen at the events, different people or whatever, but what the candidate is saying is a constant, regurgitated. Like Kamala's thing is middle class family. We've heard her say that 20 million times. We've heard her say, my job as a prosecutor, my time as a prosecutor. Trump's favorite line is to say, "We are a nation in decline." That comes from, I only know that because when I was, going to political events, a couple years back, they had this promo that was running while you were like waiting for candidates to come out and speak. And that was the big line in the promo. "We are a nation in decline." And it was like Trump coming out of the plane, and it was raining, and it was black and white. It was a whole mood. But yeah, like I love that, like when we talk about Black issues, which we are going to talk about that, Soonie can better speak to that because she knows Black folks. Okay. She knows what Black folks want to know, what they want to hear, how they need to be pandered to. Okay. Right? Because like you said, all politicians pander. And it's the same thing with Latinos. I know what works and what doesn't work with Latinos. And there was something that there was a lot of things that I heard in this that I was just like, these people aren't buying this, are they? Yeah.
She pulled out the accent and everything. There was like a slight. Did you notice that? It was like ever so slight.
Always.
She said, dang, I forgot how she said it. Is this the clip?
Well, okay, so this is the opening clip, and I wanted to play this because there's something that she says in here that I need to address before we go into the questions. And then I have about 3 timestamps of people asking questions that we can react to, and then you guys can watch the rest of it on your own. Okay.
Guys, this is the Mo show. Okay. This right here is the Mo show. We never get to hear Mo have like these Latino moments, right? I'm about to have a hella introduction. Listen, it's the Mo show. If you're watching on TikTok, share this with all your Latino friends.
We'll give you some time
here. So we'll give you some time. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll give you some time because we know Latinos are late for everything. So I'm sure they're not here yet. Okay, I'm sure y'all are not here yet, but we'll give you some time to file in. In the meantime, I don't know exactly where this is at, if this is in Florida. I'm assuming it is in Florida because I think that's where Univision is like headquartered at. But like I said, this is her opening statement here, and there's a very small crowd of people. As usual, the same way it goes with Trump events and town halls. The people that speak and ask questions, they're clearly pre-screened. Okay. There's nobody at any one of these town halls that's just standing up and asking a random question. So you'll see that they're going to pop up like with a little fact sheet about each of these people as they speak. So let's go ahead and start off with her opening statement.
Okay. Again, I thank everyone for taking the time to be here this evening and for this important conversation. And to Univision and Enrique, thank you. You mentioned the hurricanes. I'll start by speaking to all of the people who are living in the Southeast corridor who have been so devastated by Hurricane Helene, Milton, and I cannot stress enough the work that we have been doing around the clock to make sure that the federal resources are on the ground in partnership with state and local leaders to do the work of giving people the relief they need so immediately, plus a commitment to helping people in the long term. I do think that the crisis that we have just experienced and the ongoing effects of it because of these hurricanes are yet another example of the importance of having leadership at a moment of crisis who understands their role and responsibility. I think for too long in our country, especially over the last several years, there's been a suggestion that frankly I think is quite backward, that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, instead of the real strength of a leader being who you lift up.
Okay, so we're gonna stop it right here. Soonie, by the way, I muted you because I could hear you scraping up your plate, girl. I could hear you scraping up the vittles on your plate. Okay, so the reason why I stopped it right here, she said the strength of a leader should be mentioned by who you lift up, not who you bring down. Okay, so this is why I'm here. Okay, because as a Latina woman that was brought up by a Latina mother and father, specifically the mother, okay? Mothers, very important, okay? It is extremely important to know the audience that you are speaking to, okay? And let me tell you something. Latinos are not brought up on your parents lifting you up. It's quite the contrary. They actually grow and build you by putting you down. Okay. And I don't mean that like in a bad way, but like in white families, for instance, and I'm not trying to make this a white Latino, whatever thing, but this is the closest I can give you as an example. Okay. Like in white families, for instance, okay. Like Timmy, he gets like a good grade or, comes home and he's like, hey mom, guess what? I got a raise on my job. Okay. At my job today. Okay. His mom is going to be like, oh my gosh, Timmy, that's amazing. Oh my God. Let's just put your name up on a board. Let's put on the whiteboard on the fridge. Let's put on there, Timmy got a raise or Timmy got a good grade on his test. Okay. In a Latino home, you'd be lucky, okay, that your mom is even going to tolerate talking to you about this. Because if you come home in a Latino home and you say, hey mom, I got an A on my whatever class today or whatever test today, she's going to be like, yeah, but don't think I forgot that you got an F last week. Okay. They immediately jump to the negative. Okay. If you come home and you're like, hey mom, guess what? I was at work today. My boss said I was doing a really good job and he gave me a raise, and your mom's going to say, oh, so now you think you're hot shit? Now you think you're hot shit? Like you think you don't need to do shit around here? Like literally that's what it's like. Okay. So this had me on the floor because I was just like, Latinos don't care about this. Like they don't care about somebody who's nice. Okay. They want somebody who is real, who gives it to them real. That's what we're used to. Okay. That's what we believe. And we literally grow up our whole life thinking we're not good enough because that's how we were raised. So we just keep trying to achieve and achieve and achieve. And most of us never really hear positive words of affirmation from our parents. I'm not saying that's across the board, but that's what it is. And it's not like a negative thing. It's just how we're raised. Okay. I will tell you, as a grown woman, I think I was like in my 30s when I first heard I love you from my dad. And it's not because my dad is a terrible person, but we're just not built like that. You know what I mean? So anyways, I'm going to leave it right there and I'm going to move to the next clip. Okay. This next clip is a man who is a Tampa resident, and he asked Kamala about how they are handling the hurricane relief.
Ramiro González está en la construcción. Él vive en Tampa y tiene una pregunta para la
I just got a question for Ms. Vice President.
Buenas noches, señor.
Good evening, Ms. Vice President.
Pasé toda la noche
I spent the entire night looking at news, tracking the hurricane that was going through my family's house. 2 weeks ago, there was another hurricane that came through the same neighborhood. they are saying, or rumors are, that your administration didn't do enough to respond to the last hurricane. What would you specifically do, or your administration do, to help us in the Tampa Bay area or the Central Florida area with this
The
hurricane?
administration didn't do enough in terms of relief for families affected by Helene. What would your administration do differently in the case of Milton?
Well, first of all, thank you for the question. I hope your family is okay and your home is okay.
Do you hear it, Soonie? I hope your family's okay.
See? Yeah, like what? Where is this accent coming from?
I don't know.
Why is it there?
You know, I think it's like a nervous thing because Dave, you know, Dave's white. My husband, he's white. And like I always say, he does the same thing. Like when we go to like a Mexican restaurant, like clearly they know he's white. He says everything like with a white accent. And then like he'll order something with like a Hispanic, you know. He's like, I'll have enchiladas. And I'm just like, enchiladas verdes. And I'm like, what? Where did that come from? So I think it's like a nervous reaction.
You know what? I can get down with that, right? Because I make fun of my husband all the time if he's watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
He brings the story up, so it's not like I'm telling a secret. So, what's up, Liddell? When he gets around Black people, he talks Black. Now people are gonna be like, "City, we're talking Black." Shut up. You know exactly what that is. We got a little sauce in our language, okay?
Right.
We say gotta, we don't say I'm going to. We say finna. Where y'all going? You know?
Yeah.
Like Ebonics. Ebonics is how you speak Black.
Yeah.
That's easy, right?
Yeah.
When I hear him speak Ebonics, I'm like, ugh, please stop. Like I hate it.
It's cringy.
It is so cringe. I'm like, dude, please just don't even get that accent ever again. He laughs at me. He's like, why? I'm like, because it just doesn't sound like you. You sound nice as kind. Like, leave it alone. You know?
I know. I tell that. Well, that's what I tell Dave. I'm like, it's not like they're gonna be like, oh, this guy must be Latino all of a sudden because you pronounce enchiladas verdes or whatever. Like they know what's up. Oh gosh. Okay, we'll continue on.
Okay, so there's been a lot of mis and disinformation about what we have been doing over the last 2 weeks and what we are going to do going forward. And I have to stress that this is not a time for people to play politics. You know, I started my career as a prosecutor.
What the hell was that? I started.
And you know, the blatant, like, this is not a time to play. Both sides, all they do is play politics. What do they mean? It's not a time to play politics. This is literally a political competition.
It's an election.
It's like that's what you're supposed to do. But I also wanted to point out here. So as you guys listen to Kamala speaking in any event she's at, notice that she always touts her career as a prosecutor. She never says, during my time as vice president. You will not hear her say that because she didn't do anything while she was president. Okay. And one might say, okay, well, let me just take her accomplishments as a prosecutor or as a DA or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into it today, but Google how many cases Kamala Harris held as an attorney, and you will see that it is well under what accomplished attorneys do. And I'm talking, you can count it on one hand. Okay. So she ain't got much of a career as a prosecutor, and you can actually see the details of all those cases, but I'll leave that up to you guys to look up.
And when I worked doing that job of my goal of keeping people safe, I never asked a witness or a victim of crime, are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? The only question I ever asked is, are you okay?
Are you okay?
And sadly, we have seen over the last 2 weeks since Hurricane Helene and now in the immediate aftermath of Milton, where people are playing political games, suggesting that resources and support is only going to certain people based on a political agenda. And
That's not
Bro,
true.
What? What is she talking about? It has
That is
nothing.
not true.
It's first of all, it's not a political agenda. It's showcasing your lack of political agenda when it comes to the American people, giving
Yes.
them a loan. You know what? There's so many things out there, and I've just refused to look it up.
Yeah.
There's people saying that this $750 one time, I guess, loan or stipend that they're giving is actually
Yeah.
something that you have to apply and qualify for.
Yes.
It's not even something that you get off rip, but we can send billions upon billions upon billions out of the country. So
Yeah.
a little fun fact debunking session. We don't care about your political agenda. We care about what you're not doing as a VP.
Right.
Period.
Right. And also, you know, since she brought up her career as a a prosecutor, and she says, you know, I never asked about somebody's political agenda. All I cared is, are you okay?
Yeah.
Your job as a prosecutor is literally to go by the law. So like, you're not like, I don't know what you're bragging about, because that's what you're supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to defend the Constitution.
Well,
And
the district attorney is her stint as district attorney is nothing but politics. That's how you get to that position, is playing politics.
yeah, or other things.
Knee pads.
Knee pads.
This is just not accurate. I have been working over the course of the last couple of years, not even couple of years, my whole career, but couple of weeks, with people on the ground in Georgia, in North Carolina, in Florida, in the Southeast corridor. Republicans, Democrats.
He's looking at her.
Work in getting relief that is about bringing FEMA resources on the ground, reminding people that they are entitled to relief. Don't listen to anyone who says that you're not entitled. Doing the work I was.
Like the people that denied the loan that you applied for.
Dude, I'm going to pull this up.
This guy is just, this is the common theme with everybody, is that nobody seems to be moved by any of her answers.
Just on a secure meeting today with the president, with the Secretary of Defense, with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, with the head of the Coast Guard, with the general representing NORTHCOM, talking about how the federal, state, and local governments are working together for the benefit of the people on the ground. Another piece of work that I've been doing, it's based on my years being an attorney general in California, is telling those corporations and those companies that during crisis and emergencies, jack up prices, and I've seen it happen before, that we're watching them, and at a moment,
put this accent away.
Of desperation for these individuals and families, whether it be to be able to get temporary shelter at a hotel, for gas prices, for even airline tickets, that we'll be watching if they're jacking up prices, to make sure there'll be serious consequence.
Okay, so I want to address this because she is right. There are people that are doing that. Conservative Ant on Instagram, he actually made a video because he took in some linemen. He lives in Florida, so they were affected obviously by Hurricane Milton and Helene. But he lives in Florida, and he went on his social media yesterday and talked about how him and he was at a restaurant and he ran into some linemen that were there. And they just got to talking to them and they said, hey, like, this is awesome that you guys are doing this work. We really appreciate it. Like, where have they put you guys up? And the guy said, we're sleeping in our trucks. And he goes, oh my gosh, why? And he says, well, because Airbnbs and hotels are anywhere between $700 to $900 a night. So they cannot afford that. So Ant actually took a few of them in last night, cooked dinner for them and gave them a place to sleep and shower and all that, which was really, really nice. But as far as these consequences that she says that they're holding people to if they do this, unless I'm missing it, you guys let me know. Anybody seen the consequences?
Anybody? Somebody?
Anybody?
Raise your hand.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of work I will do going forward. I have spent my career, the vast majority of my career, concerning myself with the safety and well-being of people.
No, you
and I
haven't.
promise you, and I pledge to you as president, I will continue to do that.
You as president.
You have a right to know that your government and its leaders.
You have the right to know that your
You
government.
first.
I can't even do the damn accent.
Thank
This. You know what this makes me think? Like,
What?
this is just giving psychotic bitch vibes. When you
Yeah.
can easily pick up an accent like that.
And switch.
I don't think have you guys ever heard me switch an accent? I sound the same every time I get on this bitch. She sounds different depending on who she's in front of, bro. That is scary as crap.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know why that freaks me out so much, but that is legit scary.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here trying to do this accent and I can't.
So I want to also recommend that after you guys watch this show, go to Tucker Carlson's YouTube and watch the interview with Harmeet Dillon, who is an attorney who worked alongside Kamala Harris from the beginning of her career till the end. And she literally starts off the interview and says, Kamala Harris is a shapeshifter. And she provides a lot of stories in that interview. It is a great interview. It's so good. Yeah. She says it's really scary. She is a straight shapeshifter.
Oh my God.
Do you want, so we're not going to show it here, but do you want to show, because I see some people talking about teleprompter gate in the comments.
Yeah.
And I assume that's what you were pulling up. Were you pulling up that video?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I have it. I have my reaction to it.
Yeah, pull that up. So just to set this up, so if you guys can see right here in front of her, there is a teleprompter, which there's nothing weird about that because the host needs a teleprompter, obviously. And there may be some type of also translation for her on this screen of like when the people are speaking Spanish, because I don't know. I see that the host is translating for her. But I'm not sure. Okay. But clearly there was a moment where something was on that teleprompter. They noticed it and quickly like shifted away. And she was looking at the teleprompter. So Sooney's going to show that so you guys can see.
She was definitely looking at it. What is this called? Teleprompter gate? Is that what it is now?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. Bro, watch Kamala get exposed for having a teleprompter.
The only question I ever asked is, are you okay? And sadly, we have seen over the last 2 weeks since Hurricane Helene.
Bro, watch Kamala get exposed for having a teleprompter. Why did she do that, bro?
The only question I ever asked is, are you okay?
Are you okay?
And sadly,
okay.
Over the last 2 weeks since Hurricane Helene.
They cut that shit so quick.
You know, so now that I'm watching that was during her opening statement. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that was during her opening statement.
That just provided so much more context. Why does she need a teleprompter? She's just repeating the same thing over and over, just different variations.
I mean, you would think that you would know it by heart by now.
I know some of her lines by heart. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we don't know if Trump has a teleprompter. If anybody's been behind him at a rally.
Of course he got one.
Yeah. But I
She's
mean,
young,
like, but I mean, when he's giving like the same speech he always gives, it could be. I don't know. This is about being fair.
We're going to be fair to Kamala. This
I?
is a fair criticism. Kamala is just straight up cringe. Just bottom line. That's her. That's her thing. That's her shtick. That is her like vibe. That is the aura she gives off. That's just Kamala. And we love Kamala for it. Thank you, honey, because you are the Christmas tree that keeps on giving.
Listen, okay. The content between you and The View. All right. So this next woman, this one's going to be a little bit more emotional. Okay. So you're going to get to see Kamala Harris's soft side because, you know, she's a person who has feelings. I mean, she washes her greens in the bathtub. Okay. She's just like you and me.
She be
right?
boiling them greens and booty juice. Nasty bitch.
All right. So this is a woman who has lost her mother. Her parents were both immigrants. And she has a question for Kamala Harris on how she's going to address the disparities in healthcare with immigrants.
Buenas noches, Vicepresidenta.
Good evening,
Harris.
Madam Vice
Usted y yo
President.
tenemos algo en común. You and I have something in common. We both lost our mother.
Oh.
And I'm an American citizen, born to Mexican parents. They were here before I was even born. They've worked their whole lives. But with the way immigration laws change over time, I was only able to help my dad get his legal status squared away, but not my mom's. My mom passed away just 6 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And she was never, ever able to get the type of care and service that she needed or deserved. Sorry.
Take your time. Take your time.
So my question for you is, what are your plans, or do you have plans to support that subgroup of immigrants who have been here their whole lives, or most of them, and have to live and die in the shadows?
I'm so sorry for you.
Thank you.
You must remember your mother as she lived.
I'm sorry. I know we're in a serious moment, but was anybody else creeped out by that? Soonie, this was her. You must remember your mother as she lived.
Why she put on the old decrepit witch hands? Running back, please. Yo, just take it back 5 seconds, please.
She said, okay, hold on. What is it at? 9:41.
Yo, Kamala Harris is cringy as crap.
All right, here we go, you guys.
You must remember your mother as she lived. I have enough of a feeling about your strength that it probably comes from her to know she would want you to remember her as she lived and not as she died, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So let's take it once.
So. Wait, and did you hear her say she was like, I know enough about your mother or something? I'm like, yeah.
You don't even know her mom. Yo, what if her mom was like the scum of the earth and she's just there because she couldn't get out what she needed to get out, and now she's just like, dude, I was working so hard to take care of my mom. You know, my mom is a piece of shit, bro. Kamala is fake as crap.
Because once again, people, it doesn't matter how shitty your parents treat you. As Latinos, we are bound by God, okay, to take care of our parents until the grave. Your mother, by God, your mother can beat you every day of your life. Okay, you need to honor your parents. So we don't know. We don't know what her relationship was with her mom, but Kamala seems to know her mother was a great woman, and she needs to remember that memory. Okay,
step at a time. Mm-hmm. Your parents were here for years, it sounds like, and your father was able to earn his pathway to citizenship, but your mother was not. And I'm going to assume it's because part of the problem is that we do have a broken immigration system, including it being the case that even though when we were elected in 2020, and the first bill we offered Congress, before we did the bipartisan infrastructure bill, before we did the work on gun safety, before we did the work on investing in chips and science, the first bill we offered within hours of taking the oath was a bill to fix the immigration system, including creating a comprehensive earned pathway to citizenship for hardworking people. And it was not taken up. And now we look at a situation where people are suffering. The reality is that in terms of having access to health care, had your mother been able to gain citizenship, she would have been entitled to health care that may have alleviated her suffering and yours.
What? You don't even know what the fuck she died from. What if she was an old fat slob that gave herself cancer because she smoked cigarettes for the majority of her life? What are you talking about? What could you have done for her?
Right. And I'm just going to say this, okay? There are people who are born here, citizens, mother and father are citizens, and they still can't get access to good healthcare because they cannot afford it. Okay? Because you still got to pay the bill. you still got to pay the bill. So like, I don't understand like why she's acting like, oh, if only she was a citizen, she would have lived. Like with the healthcare would have saved her. You don't know.
Come on. If you're voting for Kamala, I'm just gonna pray for you. You need serious prayer.
And please know, we're not laughing at this poor woman.
No.
I feel really bad for her because you can really see how hurt she is, you know, with telling the story about her parents. And I almost can see on her face, like maybe they got her to ask this question and she's just like disgusted that she even has to entertain an answer from this woman because like seriously, like she literally had to like rip open a wound of her mother dying again so that she could be, you know, like a question for Kamala Harris to like pander to.
Only to be given a very mediocre, broad, you know, heartfelt, want to be heartfelt. It's like trying to console someone after they've experienced a death in the family and you don't know what to say. So you say a bunch of cringy things that you think is going to make them feel better.
Right. Exactly.
Instead of just like, sitting in the room quiet.
Right. There's nothing I can say to make you feel better. Like, I'm just sorry. I'm sorry.
And if she would have led with that, you know what? There is nothing I can say to remedy that pain. But this is my plan.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I agree.
An example of the fact that there are real people who are suffering because of an inability to put solutions in front of politics. I mean, an example of this on immigration policy is that as it relates to what we need to do to strengthen our border. A bipartisan group of members of Congress, including one of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came together with one of the strongest border security bills we've had in decades. And it included 1,500 more border agents to go to the border to help those hardworking folks who are working around the clock. The border agents supported the bill. It included more resources to...
No, they didn't. And I'm going to show you a video of the freaking Border Patrol at a Trump rally, literally saying they will walk out in droves on their job if Trump does not win this election. Stop. Where's the stop the cap? Stop the cap. Hit it. Ridiculous. I'm trying to remain calm about this. But like the lies, like the blatant lies just annoy me. I do want to address Daniel's comment here. He said Trump did the same thing with the dead fireman. That was Corey. What was his name? Corey.
I forgot his last name, but they did spell his last name wrong. I agree with Daniel.
Yeah. I agree that doing the rollout of the thing and hugging it, you know, obviously was an emotional plea, right?
It, bro.
Yeah, he kissed it. Now, what the guy did was pretty damn, you know, brave. He threw himself in front of his family and protected them from a bullet that was intended to go towards President Trump. So I can understand the connection there a little bit better. At least Trump had some type of connection to this guy, whereas Kamala is quite literally channeling this poor woman's mother from the grave.
What's she saying? You must remember your mother as she was.
Soonie, what's the way you said it? As she was.
She sounds like a freaking witch. Yo, somebody needs to make that into a fucking meme. That's hilarious. I'm sorry. That was freaking funny, dude.
Just the flow of fentanyl, which is killing people of every background in every region of our country. It would have allowed us to have more resources to take on transnational criminal organizations. I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations.
No, she
from
hasn't.
The Guadalajara cartel to the Sinaloa cartel.
No, you haven't.
And Donald Trump found out about that bill realized it would be a solution and told them not to put it on the floor for a vote.
Let me just point this out. She is in no way addressing this woman's question. This woman specifically asked, what are you going to do to help people like me and my parents who are dreamers, basically? She's a dreamer. She's a DACA recipient, basically, because she was born to two immigrant parents, and her parents worked and lived in this country for a long time. Truth be told, my heart goes out to those types of people, okay? I do have, because I wish that you shouldn't be in the country 60, 70 years and not have obtained citizenship. And obviously the father did, but the mother never did. I don't know when she started that process, but I'm assuming, their parents worked in this country and contributed to this country. My best friend's parents are like that. Okay. It breaks my heart, those types of stories, but she's not answering this woman's question. And this woman's getting like, I'm not asking you about the Sinaloa cartel. I'm not asking you.
And either way, she's lying, because Kamala Harris never directly prosecuted any cartel. She prosecuted drug-related offenses, which we're eventually going to get into the more we talk about her, because she offered black men something after locking up a whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
I actually have the number, but she's just so fake. See, this right here, at this point is when I turned it off. I said, I can't take you anymore.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm sitting here watching over an hour of you say absolutely nothing on top of you lying. And then you whispering about her having to remember her dead mother as she was. The fuck do you think she's doing?
Yeah.
What do you think she's doing already?
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry about your loss. Here's what I got for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
Exactly. She can't keep it real. She cannot keep it real. And that's, I will say that's one thing I do, although Trump has his cringy moments as well, I do appreciate that when people do stand up and ask Trump questions similar to this nature, he's a little bit more sincere about it. People may not always like his answers or whatever, but he definitely gives the same answers all the time. And he is a little bit more sincere, in my opinion, with that. Let's finish this one up, and then we're going to get to one more, because hopefully by then Carmen will be on and we can move to Ben Miller, the Trump accused assassin.
Because he would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And again, Enrique, we were talking about it. In terms of real leadership is about solving problems on behalf of the people.
The people. On behalf of the people.
Come on, bro.
Oh, God, I can't. I hope Charlemagne, by the way, she went on the Breakfast Club today. It's not out yet, but I hope Charlemagne asked her about all these fake ass accents.
And I'm so sorry for what you've been through. I'm so sorry for what you've been through.
You should have led with that.
My mother came to the United States at the age of 19. She was by herself, came alone by herself. She raised my sister and me, Maya. And I know what it is like to have a hardworking mother who loves you and to lose that. But I know that her spirit is alive. I know her spirit is alive. And will you tell me her name, and let's speak her name?
Maria Dolores.
What the fuck? Are they having a seance? What is happening?
Okay, we speak her name, okay?
The blood of Jesus right now.
Yvette, thank you so much, man.
Maria Dolores.
The blood of Jesus. She's talking about, let's speak her name now.
Let me tell you, Maria Dolores is
out here trying to communicate with the dead spirits.
Yeah. Maria Dolores is like rolling over in her grave as we speak.
Yo, this is cringy as crap.
Yeah. Okay. Last one.
That's how I think about the healthcare system, including what we need to do to make sure that someone like you who is dead.
Here we go.
Applications are stuck in our social security system. And Marta Rodriguez has a question about that. Marta, tu pregunta sobre las aplicaciones de discapacidad en el
for disabled people at Social Security.
Good evening, Vice President Harris. My name is Martha. I'm 62 years old and currently homeless. In 2020, I had a heart attack. Then I got diagnosed with long COVID, which will disable me for the rest of my life. I lost my job, my income. I had no choice but to apply for Social Security disability. It's been 3 years. I've been waiting for a decision. Because of no income, I lost everything. I have no health insurance. I can't get medical treatment that I need. And my question for you is, how will you help the disabled people so that they can get insurance and make America great again?
See, did you hear that? And make America great again. She snuck that in real slick.
I think this woman is there to ask the hard question because Kamala Harris has been the tie-breaking vote. And I think this is something that, because we're talking about fact checking, I think this is something that we should acknowledge.
Yes.
If Democrats wanted to propose legislation that addressed the American concerns, demands, and needs and desires, they could have done that. They did it on massive amounts of spending that have left this country. They've done it on massive amounts of weaponry, missiles, tanks, jets that have left this country. So I think that this was a very targeted question, and whoever she is, shout out to her for even making it in there.
Yeah.
And saying that statement of let's make America great again, because why is she, an American citizen, not able to get what
Healthcare.
she needs? And these people who are coming across the border are getting it free of charge.
Yes. And very strategically placed after the first lady who was saying she couldn't, or her parents couldn't get healthcare because they were immigrants. So here's a woman who is a citizen, born in New York, Puerto Rican origin, homeless. Okay. So this is the dynamic here to look at is that even, like I was saying, even people who should have rights to all this stuff don't.
Jeez, man.
So I'm so sorry for everything you've been through. Your point about long COVID, finally, I was actually part of pushing to make sure that long COVID is now recognized under the Americans with Disabilities Act. So it is now recognized as being a disability for the purposes of allowing you and people who have long COVID to be eligible for disability benefits. And that's a very big point. As it relates to disability rights as a general matter, it's something I've worked on for years. The point just being very simple, frankly, which is that all people, regardless of disability, should have equal access to housing, to job opportunity.
So she acknowledges that she was a part of making long COVID, which I've never even heard of long COVID, but long COVID, a permanent disability. But what? Because this woman just said she has not received her disability, which is why she's homeless.
Well, I know someone who has long COVID, but he got long COVID from the jab. He got long COVID because of the jab injury, and this is just permanent sickness. He's always dealing with ailments in his lungs. It's never gone away since he's had COVID. And I'm sorry, as I know we're on YouTube, and got the jibby jab. I'll leave it at that.
So it's basically you're forever plagued with COVID-like symptoms.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
To education and again to dignity. And there's still a lot of work that we have to do in that regard. What we have to do in terms of also making sure that somebody who experiences an acute illness does not lose everything is still work we have to do. Part of the work that I've been doing and intend to do as president includes, for example, dealing with the issue of medical debt. So this is a big issue, which is people through no fault of their own experience a serious illness, and then they acquire all these bills and debt. Right now, the system is that medical debt can be used against your credit score. Your credit score, everybody knows their credit score. It's like kind of like, your weight, your credit score, right? So your credit score, as we know, will determine your eligibility for everything from a small business loan to whether you qualify for a lease on an apartment. The unfairness of it, and this is what I intend to change, is that medical debt is not a measure of how responsible you are with money. It's about the fact that you experienced an emergency for which you did not plan because you did not invite it. And then it worked.
I didn't understand that.
Shouldn't it be a reality? Now, should hospitals charge as much as they charge for procedures? No. I don't think it should cost $3,000 to get someone from their home to the hospital. That's ridiculous. In fact,
yeah,
I don't even think they should charge people for that, but they do.
Yeah.
But they have to be able to pay the people that work these positions. They have to be able to pay insurance, right? So naturally, they're going to have some hefty prices attached to procedures, but that's where the buffer of insurance is supposed to come in.
Right.
So it's kind of like a natural consequence, right? Like, or would you say it's a natural consequence that if you don't have insurance, you're probably going to pay more out of pocket for procedures? Much like if you get in an accident in a car and you have no insurance, you're going to have to come out of pocket. There's nobody acting as a buffer, or nobody acting as a negotiator on your behalf to get you a fair price.
Right.
So instead of pandering and pulling at people's heartstrings, why not allow there to be an open market and people can allow insurance companies to compete?
Mm-hmm.
Or why not talk about other options?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it's like they're forever bringing up the problem, but not really talking about how there's a solution to this problem. It's just, elect me so I can put more money into this and then change absolutely nothing for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And they like to say, oh, like the whole COVID thing was on Trump and this, that, and the other. And, my thing is this, like you had PPE loans that you were magically able to create for people. You were able to give out thousands of dollars, like I think in 3 or 4 separate instances immediately, right? To provide people with relief.
Right.
Why couldn't you sign some executive order that would give immediate relief to people with things like long COVID to be able to speed up the process for their Social Security or their disability benefits? So like she sits there and acts like she hasn't been at the helm of the control desk along with Biden this entire time. And she says, well, this is something I've been working on and I continue to work on. Like, how freaking long is it going to take? It's been 4 years. COVID started before you even got in office, technically.
Way before then. So you couldn't have spent your entire career doing that because according to you, you spent your entire career locking people up. You brag about it with the cartel. You brag about it with Trump. This is what you do. You don't really pay attention to insurance. You just lock people up. You go after the bad guys and corporations.
Right.
Works against people's ability to do things like get an apartment. So there are a number of issues that I think you're raising around how we have to see the full person and understand how one thing connects to another. Because as you have explained, a health issue that then results in an issue about literally housing and whether you are unhoused, an issue that is about what you qualify.
Housing and how you're unhoused.
Why is she unhoused? She's unhoused because, let me shut up. I said I wasn't going to talk about it. I'm going to just be quiet.
I'm going to go ahead and cut it short here because you guys get the gist of it. She was pretty consistent with how she has answered questions. She hasn't. Tomorrow, Trump goes and does a similar town hall with Univision. We're going to watch that and react to that. Hopefully we'll be able to stream that live. But I do suggest you go watch it. It's got about, from this point on, it's about an hour long total. But we just showed you the first 20 minutes. So if you guys want to go and watch it, be my guest. Be my guest. But
voters to go watch it.
Yes, yes. So we made perfect time because I just saw Carmen pop in. And that is taking us to our next topic, which is the topic of the alleged third Trump assassination attempt made by a gentleman, or that they're alleging was made by a gentleman, Ben Miller. He didn't actually attempt to kill the president, but they're saying that they're using the word they thwarted an attempt of the president being potentially attempted to be assassinated again. So we wanted to bring Carmen on because Carmen actually has some association with this gentleman. She has been following the story. And I was going to read an article about it, but I'm going to let her kind of tell you everything up until this point. So, Carmen, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing? I like your picture. That's cute.
Oh my gosh, thank you. That is from 30 pounds ago.
Oh,
And 2019, I think.
okay.
Pre-pandemic, you know.
Hey, you didn't have to tell us that. We could have just.
I know.
We could have just been like, it was a hot photo, regardless.
Super hot. Pre-COVID weight, Carmen.
Yes. We all have that. We all have the pre-COVID weight, so no shame.
Is that so? Do we have Julius in here too?
Oh no, that's just him. I had just had a comment pinned from him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I haven't seen you guys in a while. What's up, Soonie?
Hello. What's up?
Hello.
Yeah, I don't know if you follow Soonie's new page.
I haven't seen Soonie's stuff in months. I was telling you.
She lost her account again, so you'll have to follow her.
Ah, okay.
It's Susu.
Okay. I'm not even on Instagram. You can just follow my TikTok.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the commies strike again.
Yes.
So
tell us about them. Tell us about this situation. Just take us from the initial, what you know, what happened, to what you have gathered talking to him.
So, interestingly enough, there was a VIP event on Tuesday night, last Tuesday, so a week ago today.
Mm-hmm.
Today's Tuesday, right? And I show up and Vem is there, and I hadn't seen him in a while because he lives in Nevada, so it's not like somebody I run into all the time in my circles, but we got to know each other over a year ago at another Patriot event. I met him. He does journalism. He has a show and a network. He's done a lot of documentaries and stuff like that. And as I got to know him, one of my other friends and I were actually considering working with him as far as like starting a show. And he wanted us to do a show. So we got acquainted. We used to have a lot of conversations and we used to have conference calls, and we really, really, really liked him. It ended up being that our schedules just didn't work out. So we didn't do the show, and things just, you get busy and things fall by the wayside. And that's kind of where we left it. He was also at AmFest last year with us, last December in Arizona. We ran into him again, and then lo and behold, there he is at the James O'Keefe documentary screening. So there was like a VIP premiere of his new movie, Line in the Sand, which, by the way, was fabulous. It was interesting. I'll tell you about that another time. But so anyway, it was 500 people that were all invited as James's special guests. Apparently Vem works with James, is friends with James, so he was there. I wasn't expecting him to be there, but there he was. So it was kind of, I'm like, oh, what are you doing here? And, you're in town for a while. And he's like, yeah, I'm here for this. And he had some other stuff. And we ended up hanging out that night, him and our circle of friends. And then we remember him talking about the rally at some point. I don't remember what he was saying. I know people were asking if I was going. I said I didn't want to deal with the heat. It was going to be 100 degrees and I didn't want to stand in line for 8 hours and be in that heat. So I said no, but he was going anyway. So he drives everywhere, and apparently he keeps guns in his car, like a lot of people do as they drive around. He lives in Nevada, so it's perfectly legal there. It's also legal in the state of California to have firearms in your vehicle as long as they are in the trunk, and you can't have them loaded with a magazine. So those are like the stipulations. If you have them.
Sorry, my understanding is too, the magazine has to be completely separate, like in a locked, like in the glove compartment. It has to be like completely separate from the weapon. Is that correct?
I don't think that's correct. It just can't be in the weapon.
Okay.
Like it can be, you can have like a case, like my case has a magazine holder and a gun area, and then they can, be together in the trunk, but they just can't be, the magazine can't be in the gun, as far as I
Okay.
understand.
Okay.
So anyway, he had them in his trunk. Apparently he travels with them for the most part because he gets a lot of death threats. He started getting some very credible death threats about 2 years ago, and he was having Scrabble pieces sent to his house, like physical pieces of the Scrabble board that said like dead. He had pictures of dead people sent to him and all kinds of credible threats. At that point, he decided to buy 2 weapons legally registered in the state of Nevada, and where he lives. And he claims that he's never actually fired a gun before, but he felt like he should have them. I mean, he's not like a gun person. He kind of was in the Hollywood world before, you know, for like 20 years, he's been in Hollywood or
Right.
something like that, producing and stuff like that. So he's like, I'm an artist. I'm not like a gun guy. Like, I'm a patriot, but I'm not like this, like, gun guy or whatever. And forgive his ignorance, but he admits that he's naive and ignorant when it comes to like, firing guns,
Mhm.
gun laws in California. He wasn't expecting. So he claims that every time he goes to an event and if he has them in his trunk, he will, as a courtesy, tell whatever officers are in the parking lot, hey, like, he always has VIP access everywhere he goes, pretty much too. So that's something that's like a side note. So he probably usually parks in like a VIP area or wherever. But yeah, he just told the officers, like in Nevada, like what he does all the time, hey, by the way, I have a couple of firearms in my trunk just in case anything happens. I just want you to know they're there as a courtesy. And that's what
Mhm.
he did at this event as well. So yeah, apparently he went into the VIP parking area, which was a quarter mile away from the venue. And you have to walk because it's in the middle of the desert. So he wasn't like trying to go in the venue or anything like that. He went into the parking area, saw that there were sheriffs in there or people with sheriff vests on. So he's like, I'm assuming they're either sheriff or they were working with sheriff department or whatever. He said he drove his car up to them and said, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I have a couple of firearms here. They're going to be in my trunk. I'm going to the event, blah, blah, blah. And he said the immediate demeanor of the police officer that was, taking in this information, was like shocked. Okay. And so he said at that point, the officer said, pull over. And so he did. And then they said, you need to get out of the car. So he got out of the car. And then they handcuffed him and he said, why are you handcuffing me? And the officer told him that it was just for his own safety. Now this is the story from Vem's perspective. Is that what you wanted to hear?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
really, I think that's. I mean, I can go over what's being alleged, but I want to hear it from you because you've kind of have a closer connection to it.
Right. Okay. So he said that the officer then handcuffed him. He asked why he was being handcuffed. He said it's just for my protection as a precautionary. He's like, okay, fine. And then I guess the police officer said, we want to just check the serial numbers of your weapons to make sure they're not stolen or anything's wrong with them or anything. And he was like, okay, whatever, yeah, they're right there. Like, there's where they are. He told him exactly where they were. They then proceeded to put him in the back of a cop car in 100-degree desert heat without the car running and without the air conditioning on.
Mm-hmm.
And they did that for an hour and a half. So he said it was about an hour and a half that he sat in the back of this hot car. He felt like he was like sweltering. He started having anxiety attack. He couldn't believe it. He kept asking for his water. They wouldn't give him any. They wouldn't turn on the air. Finally, an hour and a half later, they did turn on the air. Meanwhile, they took this opportunity to not just take the guns and look at the serial numbers, but they ransacked his entire car,
Mm-hmm.
front, back, the muffler, everything. They looked over the entire thing, and he had all of his journalism equipment, his like recording videos, all that stuff that he uses, computers. And he says it's about $250,000 worth of equipment plus intellectual property that he
Mm-hmm.
had in the back of his trunk. And they went through everything. And he said they found nothing of interest. But they told him that he was going to be going to jail anyway, and he kept asking why, and they wouldn't really give him many answers. So, um, the other part of the story is like he claims that he has health problems, and he was not feeling well when he got there. Like it was already like low blood sugar, and he takes like supplements in his water. He's very natural, like with what he takes and stuff, but he had like supplements that he takes every day, and they were in his water. He's like, I really need my water, please. I feel like I'm gonna die, like basically. And they're like, no, you can't have your water. They're like, what if you put something in it and then you know, and then you kill yourself or something like that. Like
Yeah.
basically they made a comment. And so he's like, I need my water. Like it has my supplements. I need to regulate my blood sugar. Like I'm feeling terrible. I've been in the back of this car for an hour and a half now in the sweltering heat. Like he said he started basically having a panic attack. Like he thought he was going to die.
Mhm.
They finally gave him some of their water. And I guess after a short period of time, they called over the Secret Service, and the cop was trying to tell the Secret Service what was going on. And he said that the Secret Service was not interested at all. He was like, okay, whatever, like, and type of thing. And he said he could tell by the Secret Service demeanor that they just were not interested at all. And the cop was trying to like sell this case to them, like, hey, you know. Meanwhile, also while he was in the car, he heard the cop. This is his testimony. He heard the cop call him a maggot and one of those dumb Trump people to a female officer. He goes, he doesn't know that I heard him say that, but I heard him say that. So clearly when I heard him say that, he's like, I automatically realized that this guy just wants to stick it to me and maybe punish a Trump supporter. He was obviously not a fan. So anyway, after a while, they took him to the jail. They stick him in the holding cell. He keeps asking, by the way, the whole time. So this is like 5 hours later, he finally gets to the jail. The whole time he was in the cop car, he's like, I want my one phone call. I want my one phone call. I want my one phone call. They refused to give it to him. They just kept making excuses. At the jail, same thing. I want my phone call. I want my phone call. They wouldn't give it to him. He finally points to like a penal code that's listed on the wall of the jail. And he's like, it's right there. I get my phone call. It's your penal code. It's literally listed right there. Where's my phone call? They refused to give it to him. They booked him, took his photo, and they gave him a yellow ticket that says that he is in possession of a magazine of more than 10 rounds and in possession, and the fact that he had the magazine loaded into his handgun. Those are the only two things he was ticketed for. He was not ticketed for being in the area with guns. He was not ticketed for having guns in his vehicle. He was not ticketed for anything else because nothing was illegal except for the 2 small misdemeanors of having a loaded gun in his trunk with a magazine in it. And the magazine had more than 10 bullets. Okay. The shotgun that he had was not loaded, by the way. Just the handgun had the magazine in it.
Yeah. So real quick, I want to just kind of outline what the Riverside County Sheriff's Department is saying while you're listening to Carmen's story. So the bullet points that they outlined was the suspect was found to be illegally in possession of a shotgun, a loaded handgun, and a high capacity magazine. The suspect claimed at the outside perimeter that he was a journalist and that he had VIP status, but sheriff's deputies assigned to Trump's Coachella rally found the driver at the inside perimeter had multiple passports and that the vehicle was unregistered. Evidence from a fake license plate of an unregistered vehicle indicated that Miller is affiliated with the Sovereign Citizens Movement, which the FBI designates as an anti-government extremist group. Federal and county officials said the incident did not impact the safety of Trump nor attendees at the event. They released a statement, the Secret Service did, and it states the U.S. Attorney's Office, U.S. Secret Service, and FBI are aware of the Riverside County Sheriff's Office arrest on Saturday. The U.S. Secret Service assesses that the incident did not impact protective operations and former President Trump was not in danger. While no federal arrests have been made at the time, the investigation is ongoing. The U.S. Attorney's Office, U.S. Secret Service, and FBI extends their gratitude to the deputies and local partners who helped ensure the safety of last night's event.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So there were two perimeters, by the way, and this doesn't normally happen. So there's the perimeter of the actual event, like the grounds.
Yeah.
And then the Riverside sheriffs decided to take an extra precautionary measure, which I don't necessarily blame them, but they created a second perimeter around all the parking areas and all that stuff, and like way outside of the perimeter of the venue. So he was inside the outer perimeter of of the whole area, that which is huge. It's huge,
It's like a first
massive.
checkpoint.
Yeah, like the first checkpoint within the
Mhm.
where people were going to park. And so he wasn't anywhere near the actual venue. Even Sheriff Chad Bianco admits that he was probably a quarter a mile away from the entrance of the venue, from like where you would have to get in the venue. So he wasn't like immediately right near the venue. He wasn't trying to get in the venue with his weapons. He was literally just parking, and he was going to have quite a walk to get to the venue from there. So they didn't charge him with anything at all, but 2 small misdemeanors, no bail. He was immediately booked and released. There was no bail. Initially, they said he was released on $5,000 bail. They initially said that he had tons of ammunition in his car, that he had a fake license, all these fake IDs and all this stuff, right? Well, it turns out that, yes, he admits that his license plate is not like a standard commercial license plate, because he does believe there are certain people that believe in there's like a faction of people that believe in the law where you don't necessarily have to pay the state to drive around in your vehicle if you're not driving for commercial purposes. And a lot of people do this. It's not just sovereign citizens, but yes, that definitely falls into that category. He vehemently denies being a sovereign citizen, and the fact that they called him a sovereign citizen and a right-wing extremist anti-government person is a lie. He's always followed all the laws. He's a very, he's a law-abiding citizen. He has 0 criminal history. He's a total patriot. So to call him like a far right anti-government extremist is actually completely false. He's actually a libertarian. He does not consider himself far right at all. He considers himself more of a libertarian, although he did run for office in the state of Nevada in 2022 under the Republican Party. What else? So he does admit that he did have like I don't know if you call it like a state national or whatever type of license plate that's not issued by the state. However, what's interesting to me is they didn't cite him for any of that.
Right.
He wasn't cited for not having a proper license plate. He wasn't cited for not having a registered vehicle. I think it's registered in Nevada. But don't quote me on that. But he wasn't cited for any of this. He wasn't cited for having illegal weapons, as they called them, because they weren't illegal weapons. Just the magazine was illegal, and the fact that the magazine was in one of the guns.
Yeah, the way he had them stored.
Yeah, the fact that the way he had the magazine stored was all he was cited for. And the magazine, the size of the magazine and where he had the magazine stored. Those are the only 2 citations that are listed on his ticket. He literally got a yellow ticket with a court date on it and was released. No bail, no money needed, nothing. Okay. So just knowing that part of the story, he wasn't cited for fake IDs or fake passports or anything of the sort, but they salaciously made that into a something burger, and it was a nothing burger. He has 2 passports because he's a dual citizen with Canada. He does have 2 names. I think he might even have a 3rd name because you can't pronounce he's Armenian. He's Christian Armenian.
Yeah.
Nobody can pronounce his name. So when he was running for office in 2022, his campaign person said, you should really change your name to just something people can like remember and pronounce. And so he's like, okay. And people being in Hollywood anyway, a lot of times people, as you know, they have a stage name,
Yeah.
Half the people in Hollywood, or maybe more than half, they don't use their real name. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
So he's got multiple passports with multiple names because he's changed his name before. All of this is on the up and up and on record. There's nothing shady about that. But again, they took that and ran with it. They said he had like they basically made it sound like he had all these fake documents that he had a fake VIP pass, which was not true, that he had fake press credentials, which was not true. He has legit press credentials. He's been a part of the press for over 20 years. But he wasn't there for press. He was there as a VIP attendee, and he was invited by the GOP in the state of Nevada, and he was emailed a special pass from the GOP in the state of Nevada to go to this event. He also canvasses for Trump in the state of Nevada. He's on like some council there for the GOP. Like he does a lot of work for our side.
So what does he say? Like, why does he think this happened to him? Because like me and Soonie were like, how is this not all over I mean, it's a dumb question because we know how the media works, but there should be more people talking about this because this seems outrageous to me. But what does he think was the motive behind this? Did he say anything?
He has stated publicly that he feels like the arresting officer had a vendetta, that he just kind of wanted to stick it to a Trump supporter based on what he was saying. And he said also the demeanor of him, he was very rude. He was condescending and stuff like that. He said his demeanor and then him calling him a maggot and one of those dumb Trump people made him, believe that the officer was just had it out for him a little bit,
Right.
That area, it's a good thing to note that area, even though Riverside County and the Riverside County Sheriff happens to be more conservative, that area, Coachella Valley, is extremely liberal. That's like near Joshua Tree. It's like hippies and love. And okay, it's near Palm Springs. Okay, it's very LGBTQ out there. That area is extremely liberal. I hear that they, the Trump people were trying to get a permit for like 100,000 people or whatever, and the mayor only wanted to give them 15,000. We know they have music festivals there all the time with hundreds of thousands of people. And they didn't want to give Trump that, right? So the mayor's super liberal. The police department, from people that I know out there, are extremely liberal. They call them libtards. The police are libtards. That's what they said. And yeah, I mean, I think even though, Sheriff Chad Bianco happens to be right-leaning and constitutional for the most part, that doesn't mean every single person in the entire county of Riverside is.
Right.
And especially in certain cities. You know?
Yeah.
So I think it was that. And it sounds like, because Sheriff Chad Bianco has already walked back some of his statements. Unfortunately, he went on record on I don't know if you watched the press conference, the day after it happened. He went on record verbally and said that they thwarted an assassination attempt.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was Sheriff Chad Bianco's personal opinion. He said it was his personal opinion that they thwarted a third assassination attempt.
Right.
And it's just disheartening because I live in this area. I know Chad Bianco. I've met him. He speaks at events that we go to. I have his cell phone number. Like, he's a good constitutional sheriff. I do believe that for the most part. However, you can't go on record and call someone an assassin.
Yeah.
Okay? When you're not supposed to assume somebody's motive, you're not supposed to label them as something that they are not, especially when they walked out of your jail with a ticket. Okay?
Yeah.
They walk out of your jail with a ticket for 2 misdemeanors that carry like $100 fine. Okay? It's like ridiculous. And he wasn't cited for all the fake things you said he had, the car not being registered supposedly, the fake license plates, the fake passports, the fake driver's license, the fake names, all this fake identification. And then Chad also says that it was illegal. He said on an interview yesterday, it's illegal to drive with firearms in your car.
Right.
No, it's not, bro. No,
Yeah.
it's not. How would people get them from the gun store to their house?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not illegal to do that. It's illegal to carry them in the main part of your car, and it's illegal to have a magazine loaded in your gun.
Yeah.
But it's not illegal to have guns in your car. And so
Yeah.
these are the type of things that he's saying, and it's creating this situation that's become extremely dangerous now.
Yeah.
for them.
And he's going to be bringing a lawsuit against Riverside County. Is that correct?
He says that he is. He says, you know, God puts me in places for a reason. And he was very emotional. I don't know if you saw his 75-minute testimonial video.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And, you know, he said, I can kind of see the Christ in all of this. Like I've been doing he feels like he's been doing the Lord's work. He really has. And he feels like he's been doing really good work, and he never expected himself to be in the limelight. He's a behind the camera type of guy.
Yeah.
He just never expected that. He never
Yeah.
expected the reaction he got from the police department or from the police at this event. He just wasn't expecting any of it. And you can call him stupid, you can call him naive, you can call him ignorant of the retarded California laws here. But to call him an assassin is another thing.
Yeah, those are strong words.
Those are very strong words, especially
Yeah.
when he already walked out of your jail with 2 minor misdemeanors on a citation,
Right.
no bond necessary.
Secret Service made a
And,
statement.
Secret Service made a statement. Secret Service went to the jail. They said, should we interview you? And he's like, sure, but I need to call my attorney. I haven't had my attorney on the phone yet.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, let's call my attorney and I'll, we'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll tell my attorney the story and you'll get to hear it at the same time. And the Secret Service were like, oh, we're good. And they left.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, Soonie, do you have any questions for Carmen?
Sorry. No, it just sounds like I don't know the sheriff's name.
Sheriff Chad Bianco.
Being a bit of a clout chaser. He said, oh, I got something nice on my hands. I'm gonna be able to get on TV and talk about it. And he looks like a total asshat right now.
Yeah.
It's sad because he's one of the most favorite sheriffs in California.
Mm-hmm.
He speaks at a lot of events. He speaks at churches. He seems to be doing the right thing, especially during COVID. You know, some people have speculated that it's because he's running for governor in 2 years. And this is, well, he has stated that he wants to run for governor in 2 years. This could be a big headline for him. Like, hey, and I'm not speculating because I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that this could be a big headline for him if they actually thwarted an assassination attempt.
And who knows, maybe Newsom was like, hey, Chad, you know, I'm going to be running for president the next election. You want my job. You know, I can help you out. You help me out. Right. I mean, hey, politicians at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know. I don't know Chad personally. But what I do know is good people can go bad or they can show their true colors at some point.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but we shouldn't definitely overlook this or take it lightly, or unless he comes out and says, you know, I walk back my statements. This is extremely irresponsible of me to say what I said.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think law enforcement are supposed to do anything with speculation. I think they're only supposed to give you the facts. Even when you see like these mass shootings, for example, the sheriffs aren't up there speculating. They're like, hold on a second. I'm going to stick to what we know at this time. This was the person. This was the type of gun. This is how many rounds were fired. This is what they're so careful to not say the wrong thing. Right.
Right.
And then you have, unfortunately, Sheriff Chad Bianco going up on a press conference saying, it is my opinion that we just thwarted a 3rd assassination attempt. And I'm sorry, but that is wrong. And that's
wrong.
probably illegal to do that. As a law enforcement officer, you should be like, well, he was cited for 2 small misdemeanors for having an oversized magazine, and the magazine was actually in the gun. And those are, you're not allowed to do that in the state of California. We never let it get beyond that point. You know, he was just found at the perimeter. You know, it doesn't appear that he had any ill intentions. But, you know, he was stopped there and we took him into custody to take all precautionary measures. That would have been a whole other thing. I could understand.
Yeah.
I could understand that.
But you know what, though? When I was, and this is like off this topic, but when I was learning about Kamala Harris and what she did as Attorney General and district attorney, okay, and all the little strings she pulled for Willie, throwing cases out and whatnot. I mean, you would do that if you thought you had some sort of protection, if you thought you could get away with it. That's what I'm saying. Like, there has to be something deeper here. But
What do you mean? Like Chad thought he had protection, or
yeah,
them?
I'm telling you, listen, the more you find out about how things work, okay, what if they've got stuff on Chad? What if they had something on Chad that they could hold over him, and Newsom could say, hey, this is how you're going to handle this situation, and you're going to do what I say, otherwise this, that, and the other, right? Now, don't worry about saying anything you shouldn't say. I got your back. We'll take care of it. That's what I'm saying is we've seen that type of scenario kind of play out already in different, situations. I wouldn't put it past them, you know?
I hate to think that way, but
I know.
I do think that way. Because of everything I've seen and learned and experienced in politics the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's a sad reality sometimes. I'm not going to say that that's what's going on, but it's like, I think in this case, Sheriff Bianco made a mistake. And, it's okay to make a mistake, but this is a big one.
Yeah.
And you're making a mistake at the expense of somebody's life, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And you're making a mistake at the expense of somebody's livelihood, their reputation, their family. I mean, okay, so yesterday, Vem had 12 police banging on his parents' door in Nevada.
Oh, wow.
They came for a quote unquote wellness check. I don't know when the last time you've ever heard of a wellness check that had 12 police.
Right.
But usually they show up with a social worker and one police officer.
That's wild.
Right?
That's
Okay.
wild.
So his parents, his dad's like 85 years old or something like that. His dad's not in good health. Really freaked out the parents. I guess the parents called a friend of theirs who lives in Nevada as well. This was Las Vegas Police Department, by the way. And the friend helped them through this, like, hey, they wanted to come in. And he's like, hold on a second. So then the friend was on the phone saying, you do not have to let them in your house. Ask them for a warrant. Well, they didn't have a warrant. So then they were saying that they were going to produce a warrant. And he's like, well, then you can produce a warrant and come back. And then they threatened the friend that was on the speakerphone. They threatened him that they were going to arrest him if he didn't stop interfering with official police business, because he was advising the parents that, hey, you don't have to let them in. They have to have, they have to have a warrant. It has to be signed by a judge. It can't just be willy-nilly. Like, he was explaining like the law to them because they were terrified.
Yeah.
And, you're going to go to somebody's parents' house and basically intimidate them. And what were they doing there with 12 officers?
That's crazy. That is crazy. So, I mean, I guess time will tell. We'll see where this goes. I'm still in awe that this type of stuff can happen, even though, like we just talked about it, we know it happens all the time. I think it's just weird every time it does. And it freaks me out because I'm just like, to what lengths will they continue to go?
Yeah.
That's what really just makes me pause and just think, like, how far are they going to take this?
Well, I'm terrified right now, to be honest. I've been texting with Vem and messaging with him back and forth on our phones.
Yeah.
And he knows what happens to people in these situations. He knows, I mean, he's already publicly stated that he is going to go after the people that have vilified him and crucified his character. This is a Kyle Rittenhouse. This is a Nick Sandman.
Mhm.
This is another one of those moments. Sadly, hopefully it won't get as insane as those two incidents, but he's not a stranger to what happens to people who expose darkness or who expose people that don't want to be exposed. And I'm not pointing the finger at Chad Bianco or anything in this scenario, but I'm saying, like, to go after either the sheriff's department or the sheriff or the specific department out in Coachella Valley that handled this to go after one or all three of those entities, or just the state of California, or whoever ends up with the lawsuit. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And the conundrum also is this. He's a conservative for the most part, right? He's like a libertarian conservative, you know. He's on our side. He's a patriot. He's at all of our events. He does patriot work. He does exposés on the dark side. Like he really feels like he's doing the Lord's work. Do you think he wants to sue other patriots and the police? He's actually backs the blue all the time. He has no problem with government. He wants limited government. He has no problem with there being government. He backs the blue. Do you think he wants to sue them? He doesn't. That would be the last people that he would ever want to sue or expose or get into a battle with.
Yeah.
And that's his conundrum too. It's like this crazy, like, crap, you know, like this just happened. Now my character is literally assassinated everywhere. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I have a reputation. I'm a good person. I don't have a record. Like, these were not my intentions. And now this is everywhere. And it's like, now he has no choice but to correct the record in this way. And that's going to be hard for him. And not only that, but, you know, then it puts even more of a bad taste in the Patriots' mouths about him. If he tries to correct the record with a lawsuit, guess what happens? Patriots are going to hate him even more. And then, you know, whoever backs this sheriff is going to hate him for doing that. And then whoever backs him for wanting to correct the record, you know, it's going to be like this patriot battle in California now. Like those who back Sheriff Bianco and those who believe that the record needs to be corrected.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. It does suck. But like he said, there's a reason for obviously him being put in this situation. You know, hopefully this works out in his favor. I'm sure that they will settle with whatever, you know, typically police departments settle with whether right or wrong. Sootie's got a drop, so she's going to go. But I'll continue with you. But, you know, they usually settle out for these things. I doubt this is something that will go to trial. I don't know. But, you know, there's got to be a bigger purpose here. And like you said, he's a filmmaker. Like, what an incredible film after all this is said and done he could make about this, right? And really expose some things.
It's ironic, right? It's very ironic.
Yeah, unless they put a stipulation in the settlement that you will not discuss this.
I don't, you know, see, that's the thing. It's like, I don't think he would settle.
Yeah.
I think he would rather take his chances and go to trial so that all of the whatever corruption is happening or however this happened, whether it's a one corrupt police officer or whether it's a corrupt department or whether it's, you know, and then the chain of command, I'm assuming that Chad Bianco got bad information. That's going to be my assumption, just because I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. However, as an officer of the law, if I see that somebody's released on just 2 magazine charges, without bail, they got out within hours, am I really going to assume that person was a risk?
Yeah.
I mean, to say that, to say what he said didn't even make logical sense. Not only did it not make logical sense, but it was just way overstepping the line.
Yeah.
So
is he going to sue the media outlets too? Because they really ran with this story.
I would imagine.
And didn't do their due diligence as journalists, right? To
I mean, any journalist
in.
with any journalist with 2 brain cells would look at those charges and say, wait a second.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they would look at the charges. They say this doesn't add up. And then the next step would be like, we need to get a statement from this guy.
Yeah.
Like, we can't just print one side of the story. Like, we need to get a statement, right?
Yeah. And everybody ran with the headline, thwarted third assassin. You know, sheriff says they thwarted third assassination attempt.
Yeah.
At Trump rally. Like, every headline was the same.
Yeah.
And assassination attempt, why isn't he in jail for that?
Yeah.
Why didn't the FBI take him into custody or the Secret Service?
And there's been no retracting articles that have followed from any of these news outlets to say, hey, we got it all wrong.
I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any. I saw today, I don't know if you saw my video about Inside Edition. They had him on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. Inside Edition had him on, and then
His business partner.
well, they had both of them on.
Mm-hmm.
They had both of them on there today. And then Alex Jones had him on. Stu Peters had him on. He was supposed to go on Fox on Laura Ingraham, and they wanted an exclusive from him. This was before he took any interviews. This was the day after,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted an exclusive from him. And at the last minute, I guess they told him they're too scared to run the story.
That's
That
crazy.
was Laura Ingraham. That was Laura Ingraham. So it's like, really, Laura?
Wow.
Really, Laura?
Good old Fox News. Wow. Laura Ingraham.
Good old Fox News. Just they were gonna make him. They told him they wanted to put him on prime time, which he thought would be good for him, right? But they wanted an exclusive.
Mm.
And then he didn't think about this. So he didn't schedule any other interviews because of that.
Yeah.
And at the last minute, they canceled on him.
And you know what's crazy? Some people may not know this, but like when you do stuff like that with Fox News, even if it's an exclusive, they don't pay you. So they want an exclusive story, but they're not going to pay you for your appearance or anything like that. I know some people think that people get paid to go on there, but they don't. So yeah, that's interesting.
Right, exactly. They wanted the exclusive, and it was just going to be good for him and good for his own side and getting his story out there on a primetime network on MSM.
Yeah.
And so he was like, okay, this is going to be, this will be good. And I guess he talked to his people, and they felt like that would be a great thing, and then canceled on him at the last minute. And it's like, okay, did you do that so that he wouldn't take any other interviews?
Right.
And just be screwed, and just everybody would just be sitting there running with this story over and over and over again all day long. Every influencer, every media outlet, everybody just running with this story all day long. And he couldn't even talk about it because he had an exclusive with you, and then you canceled on him.
Yeah. That's crazy. Oh man. Well, we shall see how this turns out. This is very interesting to say the least. And, I'm glad you were able to come on. I know that you just got off work and you're cooking dinner for you and your baby girl. So
yeah, no, I had to run to Trader Joe's and get dinner going a little bit. And
my favorite.
I know, the best. But
what did you get? What did you get from Trader Joe's? Share with me, please.
Oh, that's right. Okay. By the way, I don't think I ever found the waffles that you were talking about.
What? The Dutch pancakes?
I don't think I did.
You have to go back.
I don't think I did. I have to look in my freezer. Maybe I tried to buy some.
Yeah.
So I got pork chops.
Okay.
I got some Alaskan cod that I'm going to cook at some point. We
Yummy.
got some organic Brussels sprouts, little baby corns. We got some celery, grapes, organic strawberries, organic grapes, organic celery. These are the things that we love to eat over here. We have and then right now they have the bats and ghosts, like potato crisps.
Yes.
Those are so good.
Everything there is
Halloween,
good.
Huh?
Everything there is good.
Oh my gosh, everything there is good. I know.
Shout out to Trader Joe's if you want to sponsor me, because all I do is talk about you.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah. So we got a bunch of good stuff, a bunch of goodies, and kombucha, and their little pure coconut smoothies. They're just these little white things.
Those are good. Yes, those are delicious.
Yeah.
I love those. Yeah.
My daughter's on a kick right now. So she's into all that. But yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, we went there real quick and then raced home, and I ate a bean and cheese burrito from Trader Joe's, which I never do, but I fried one up really quick, and I made a fried burrito really fast so I could jump on here at 7. I had 3 minutes to eat. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. But
That's awesome.
yeah, no, it's my pleasure, because it's just a shame that it's one of those things where you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Right.
You just can't.
Yeah, you can't. And there's a reason why, there's a reason for all that. And I'm sure it'll be revealed what that reason, what that purpose was. I am very surprised that Trump hasn't said anything, considering this was at his event, that he hasn't spoken out and said hey, this is crazy. I don't know. Maybe he's got other things going on, but this seems like a big deal to me. Okay. Considering the guy has literally gone through a few of these situations and this one's not real, that, he would at least want to lend his name to helping to clear this guy of these allegations. I don't know, but
Yeah.
we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Secret Service did basically say like, yeah,
Yeah.
there was no danger or whatever, but they probably didn't even really know. Who knows if they even knew what the charges were when they made that statement? I don't know.
Right.
But it's like, not only was there no danger, he wasn't even anywhere near the venue.
Yeah.
The headlines made it sound like he was carrying guns on his person trying to get into the rally.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it sounded. They didn't
Yeah.
say that, but that's the way it sounded.
Right.
Man with found in possession of loaded firearms and multiple IDs and all these different names and all, it's like, hold on a second.
Yeah. Like chillax.
Yeah, I mean,
Chillax.
I
Yeah.
get it. Everybody's on high alert. I understand. Everybody's got a heightened sense of awareness right now. I get
Mhm.
that. And I'm sure that the sheriff made it known like, hey, nothing bad is going to happen at this event. Like, we are protecting the president at all costs.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
after everything that's gone on, they wanted to make sure it was a very clean event. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
And like I said, fine, detain him, check him out, and then either tell him to go away or like whatever. But if all you're gonna do is cite him for 2 minor misdemeanors and let him walk right out of your jail without even a bond,
Right.
how are you then going to translate that into a third assassination attempt?
Right.
And not only this, but one more thing, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The minute I saw that he had a handgun and a shotgun,
Mhm.
and they were calling it a third assassination attempt, I was like, okay, yes, I have a bias because I know him and I know what a nice, docile human being he is.
Yeah.
But I was like, how are you going to assassinate somebody with a handgun or a
Right.
shotgun?
Right.
How
Unless
would
you're,
that
like you
even
said,
be
close proximity. You have to be in close
humanly
proximity.
possible?
Yeah.
You would have to be point blank range
Right.
to actually unalive somebody with either one of those weapons.
Right.
So just being in a vicinity, like the VIP area is probably 100 feet away, 100 yards away. Who knows? Like they're not right up next to the stage. They're
Right.
not. I mean, I know it looks that way on camera, but these people are 50 feet, 100 feet away from the president, right? And how are you going to get one of those things in through the metal detectors, past security? Like you'd have to, and people had to walk like a mile from their cars.
Yeah.
This wasn't like a small venue.
Right.
This is a
Yeah. No, it's huge.
massive desert festival
Right.
venue.
Right.
So you have to walk a mile with this thing and then somehow get it past security and metal detectors and all that stuff, and then get within point blank range of him. You'd have to be like 5 feet from him, literally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yep.
that's another thing that I'm disappointed in is that as the sheriff and somebody you didn't catch a guy with a scope and a hunting rifle
Right.
posted up on a water tower right outside the venue.
Right. On a slanted roof.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. He had a handgun and a shotgun in the trunk of his car.
Yeah.
Like, how is he going to assassinate somebody with those?
Yeah.
You can't.
Well, I think people have lost their ability to like look at things for what they actually are versus what the picture that's being painted for you online. They just go based off the headline and so people are dumb now, Carmen. They're dumb. That's what it is.
I mean, I get it. Like, it's more interesting or more salacious to say that it was a third assassination attempt, but it's also slander.
Yeah, it is. It's a serious, serious thing for sure.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
hate even saying that because I like Chad and he seems to be a great sheriff. But in this case, I believe he made a huge mistake.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he corrects it or he, something.
I
But if
really
he,
hope that he corrects it, and I hope that he corrects it and actually works to figure out how he got this information.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
who up the chain of command provided him with information that would lead them. Oh, and also there was a quote. Vem was quoted as saying, "I want to kill President Trump."
Oh,
Which
wow.
later they all walked back, and Chad Bianco today I saw that he said, "Oh, that was bad information we got." He never said that.
Right.
So
That's
who gave you
crazy.
that information and why? Who gave you the information about everything else and why?
Yeah. Yeah. And Kylie, just so you know, we're not knocking Secret Service. We said Secret Service didn't find any issue with this man whatsoever, and they made a statement. So yeah, our comments are directly towards the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. So I just
And
wanted to
whoever that particular, that
arresting
particular
officer.
officer, yeah, I don't know which actual office he was working out of or whatever, but that particular arresting officer, it appears like he really had a vendetta for a Trump supporter, and it feels
Yeah.
like there was a lot of misinformation given up the chain of command, and
Yeah.
it's just a shame that people didn't just look at the charges, like even Sheriff Chad Bianco himself, like look at the charges and go, hold on a second. Like if
Yeah.
this guy had intentions, if there was more why didn't we keep him in jail?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why was he released at 1 a.m. like shortly after he got to the jail?
Yeah. I mean, I said this to you and I'll say it here. And this is just purely on a conspiracy level because you know how I love conspiracy. But I told Carmen, I said, after seeing how they handled North Carolina and listening to guys that were on the ground rescuing people in North Carolina, telling how they were stopped by local police there and told they couldn't go any further, told they couldn't help, told they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that. And they were literally like, why would you not want me to come help? Like, we have a helicopter. What do you mean, like, we can't go any further? What do you mean we can't go save this baby or this elderly person that needs our help? I am like seriously convinced at this point that there are sleeper cells in every single organization, police, teachers, everyday citizens, crossing guards, okay? That at any given moment when they're activated to do so, they will follow the orders of a higher power that is running whatever's going on here.
Mhm.
I mean, I really truly do believe that. And the more I see, the more I'm convinced that that's true. So,
Yeah. I mean, we know just about every organization has been infiltrated, every department's been infiltrated. I mean, there's a lot of good men and women, as we can see from the North Carolina footage. And actually, it warmed my heart to see all of
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good Americans out there that are like, blue-blooded Americans or red, white, and blue-blooded Americans that are like, you know what? Nobody's going to stop me. I'm going to help my fellow neighbor. I'm going to save as many people as I can. And you know what? Arrest me later. Like,
Yeah.
I love seeing this.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But then you do all of these, it's like all these little rocks get turned over and you slowly see all of the grossness of society too. And it's
Mhm.
just like there's bad citizens out there. There's bad,
Everything.
there's bad everything. There's bad
Mhm.
doctors, there's bad police, there's bad priests, there's bad
Yes.
pastors, there's bad. So to try to pretend like any type of profession is immune from bad people, that's just insane.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
we admit even our own pastors and priests are corrupt at
Right.
times. So,
Right.
there's going to be good and evil in everything, and I really really hope, for the sake of California and the Republican Party out here, that Chad Bianco will make a statement and walk
Yeah.
everything back. I really hope that he will do that, and I really hope that that will spread as much like wildfire as the first initial statement that he made about the assassination attempt. Like, I really really hope that happens, because I really want things to heal more than I want things to be in discord.
Right.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. We don't need any more of that.
Yeah. Nobody does, but sometimes it needs to get to that for change to happen.
Yeah.
And as my best friend says, this is why we don't put trust in any one man. We only put trust in God. That is the only
Amen.
truth, right?
Amen, sister.
Yeah, yeah. All right, girl. I'm gonna let you go because I
Thank
gotta
you.
cover up. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to come on. I appreciate it. If you guys want to follow Carmen, go ahead and give your Instagrams, because I had 2 for you and I wasn't sure which one you're posting in your highlights. You're posting a highlight on this if anybody's interested.
Yeah, I've got a highlight bubble on my page. It's my main page, which is at Carmen Estelle Official. And yeah, there's a highlight bubble called Vem Miller. It's just his name. And then it literally has like almost every post, like the timeline of everything from the beginning to the end. There's probably like 50, posts in that highlight bubble, and you can click on them. You can find his story, his testimony that he did. It's like 75 minutes. It's a Rumble video that he did.
Yeah.
You can find a lot of stuff on there. So yeah, if you're interested, you can go to my page, Carmen Estelle Official, and find much more on this story, many more details and stuff there. And yeah, thank you for having me on. Thank you for spreading the news. And let's just pray for this whole situation and pray for Vem Miller and his family, because right now they are really going through it. And I honestly do fear for him right now. I really, really do. Like, that's not an exaggeration. I actually really fear for him. And I'll have a side conversation with you about some other stuff I told him and what happened. So
thank you. We'll let him know we're praying for him, and we hope that everything works itself out.
Thank you, hon.
All right. Bye.
You. All right. Bye.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for holding on through that. I know that it was, kind of a little bit of a long segment, and Soonie had to go. We weren't anticipating to spend that long on it, but I felt like it was an important story that wasn't getting out, that we needed to spend a little bit of time speaking about, because it's not being covered. It's not being covered, and I wanted some truth to come out around that story. So again, if you are interested in learning more about that situation and keeping up with it, definitely follow Carmen. She's consistently posting on it every single day. Okay. So I want to take a quick vote in the polls to see what you guys want me to talk about next. So I have the Kamala's blackmail agenda. And I also am working for something that I was going to do for another video, but I was working on a slideshow of sorts to kind of show to everybody who is kind of still weighing maybe the 2 candidates to see, who they like better. But I felt like the tax topic was a very big thing. People were kind of confused on, and I wanted to create something to provide a little bit of context around what each candidate is saying about their tax plan. And if you guys would like me to show that and talk about that right now, I'd be happy to do that. I have a very easy breakdown of each candidate's tax plan, which I can go over with you, or we can touch on Kamala's blackmail agenda. And if you don't know what that is, she came out with an agenda that is only targeted towards Black men. That is what she's going to do to get the vote of Black men. If you haven't seen it, Obama went in front of some young men at a university, I believe it was at a university, and he basically just totally fumbled the ball by making them feel bad for not voting for the Black female. So I can quickly cover that I can go over. I can go over both if you guys are interested in both. So just let me know in the comment section. Okay, so Angela's saying Kamala Black agenda and Kylie saying tax issue. They're killing me in my state. Okay. Okay, I need another tiebreaker vote. And I can go over both if you guys want to hang on. Dominique, I made the same joke to Soonie. I said, as in blackmail, like, yeah, that's what I thought too, but she didn't get it. She was like, what? I don't understand. It's old people jokes, I guess. But yeah, I need one more person to make a vote. So if you want me to talk about Kamala Harris's opportunity agenda is what it is for Black men, I'll talk about that. But I will talk about both, but this will determine what I'm going to talk about first. So one more vote needs to come in for the topic, and I will discuss it. So somebody give me a vote to something. And just so you know, the little graphic that is going around with this opportunity agenda. Okay, so I got another vote for the opportunity agenda from Judy. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about first, and then we'll go into the tax stuff if you guys want to hold on and look at that. So this, I'm just going to talk about the little graphic that is going around that was dropped by the Harris campaign, because that's all that anybody is actually seeing online. But just know that there is a more detailed information on her website, and I will show you guys that as well before we kind of close out this show. So without further ado, let's look at the agenda, the opportunity agenda for Black men. Okay. And again, it's just my personal opinion that this is something that she kind of felt like she needed to come out with, because Obama really just like blundered everything when he went and, you know, told these Black men, hey, like you better vote for the Black female. You better give her your vote because you're Black. Okay. She knows our struggle, even though she says she came from a middle-class family. But if you guys have been watching Kamala Harris's breakdown of her genealogy, she actually came from a very privileged Jamaican family, just so you guys know. But that's another story. I digress. Okay. So here is what's floating around on social media. So I'm pulling this straight from her page. She said here, Black men deserve a president who cares about making their lives better. Okay. So basically what she's saying right there is their lives are not good. So they could be better. Okay. It depends on how you look at it. We can go over some of the comments, but if you guys have been looking at some of the comments on this particular post, on any graphic that you've seen anywhere, the comments are not good. Okay. Like, and when I say that, I mean, they're not good for her. I want to applaud, and I'm going to say Black men because this is specifically geared towards Black men, but I want to applaud Black men that I have seen. I have yet to see one that has actually fallen for the okie dokie. Okay. But I want to applaud you for saying absolutely not to this. Like, really, this is what you think we need? This is how you come to us? They think it is the most disrespectful, insulting thing one could possibly put out to any people, okay? But specifically to Black men, okay? So, and I want to say this, okay? I'm going to address that, yes, Trump did the platinum plan for Black people, and it's essentially, if you want to just look at it, you know, tit for tat, it's essentially the same thing, right? The platinum plan was specifically for the Black community. It wasn't for Black men or Black women. It was for the Black community. And I can pull that up and we can go over that if you guys need a refresher, okay, on that. But this is specifically towards Black men. And it's not so much that it's specifically towards Black men, but it's what's in it. Okay. So let's talk about it. These are, again, the high points. Number one, provide 1 million loans that are fully forgivable up to $20K for Black entrepreneurs and others to start a business. So I'm assuming the others means that it applies to other people besides Black entrepreneurs, or maybe it applies to Black women. I don't know. Okay. Her website has a little bit more context around these things. And this is why my slides on the tax plan comparison that I put together for you guys is important, because what to always keep in mind when we're looking at these types of things from any candidate is who is going to pay for this. Okay. So you're going to give fully forgivable loans that means up to 20,000. So it can be anywhere from 1,000 to 20,000, depending on, I don't know what, but who is going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for this plan? This is what she always fails to outline. Okay. Number two, support education, training, and mentorship programs that lead to good paying jobs for Black men, including pathways to become teachers. So apparently there is a statistic out there that says not enough Black men are teachers. I don't know if that's true or false, or, you know, I have no reason to believe it's not true. But she wants to support education and training and mentorship programs that lead to good paying jobs for Black men. Okay. So apparently there are Black men out there that don't have good paying jobs. To be fair, there are white men, there are Asian men, there are Latino men that do not have good paying jobs. There are some that don't have a job at all. Okay. So why this is just specifically for Black men, I don't know. Why she thinks Black men need specific help that any other man doesn't need, I don't know, but we'll keep going. Okay. Protect cryptocurrency investments so Black men who make them know their money is safe. I'm going to talk about cryptocurrencies in my tax comparisons. So stay tuned if you're interested about that. But apparently, another statistic shows that a lot of Black men do cryptocurrency investments, which nothing wrong with that. Why their money is not as safe as other people that do cryptocurrency, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I don't know much about cryptocurrencies, so there's that. Launch a national health initiative focused on the illnesses that disproportionately impact Black men. I didn't know that there's specific illnesses that impact Black men in general. I know that there are certain ethnic groups that are more susceptible to getting certain illnesses, but I don't know specifically of the ones that specifically impact Black men. But apparently they're there. So she's going to launch a national health initiative. I don't know what that means. Okay. As we heard in her Univision town hall, okay, you heard a child of immigrant parents and also a U.S. citizen talk about how healthcare ain't even working for them. And they're not Black. Okay. And one is an immigrant and one is a citizen and it ain't working for them. So how she's going to fix it for Black men, your guess is as good as mine. Okay. Now, here is the one that just really ticked me off, and I'm not a Black man, but I know it really ticked Black men off because in the comments, they were just like, this does not apply to all Black men, honey. Okay. Legalize recreational marijuana and create opportunities for Black Americans to succeed in this new industry. So that might be selling it. That might be having marijuana farms, right? Again, I don't know how successful or not successful they are in marijuana farms. But one interesting thing that I do want to put up here that Soonie sent to me this morning, if I still have it. Here it is right here. So let me just send it to myself because she pulled up this super interesting statistic. Because as you know, Kamala Harris likes to tout her career as a prosecutor. So let's bring up some stuff from when she was a district attorney in California. Okay, Soonie did the due diligence, as you know, Soonie often does. And she pulled up the admission by offense group for hashish and marijuana offenses for the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. This goes from 2011 to 2018. And Kamala Harris was a prosecutor during this time. She was a part of making laws in the state in regards to these things at this time. And you can see here in 2011, 2012, 2013, you can see right across here that marijuana possessions for sales, there was 519 in 2011, 140 in 2012, and so on and so on. You can kind of see as the years went on, it kind of went down. Okay. I don't know if that's because they also got kind of lax on prosecuting people for these types of crimes. And also, it's California. So, and then here you have marijuana sales and marijuana offenses. Okay. So I just wanted to put that up there so that you guys could see, but let's go back to the Instagram post because I do want to share with you some of the comments from people. Okay. So I'm not going to read the blue check marks, what they commented. I just want to read regular everyday people's comments on this stuff. Okay. So this guy, RJ Single says, Black people keep asking for policies specific to Black people. And when you offer them, it's considered pandering. Okay. So this guy, apparently, I think he likes this, or he's getting upset because there's Black people that are like, no, this ain't it. As a black man, this is ultra cringe and it's giving heavy desperation and pandering for the black man's vote. Okay, that's what he's responding to, that other guy. Where were you the last 3.5 years? Where was this during that time? Heck, where was this 2 months ago? Not until the polls show that black men aren't just rolling over for you because you're black. This is very offensive and messed up on many levels. Somebody else said Trump button. Another guy said, what the F is wrong with black men voting for Trump? I'm speechless. This guy said, from there's no agenda for us to, wow, she's pandering. At some point, we need to move past outrage and be constructive. Didn't you prosecute black men over marijuana possessions? Yes. So I think the number of black men that she prosecuted during her time as a prosecutor for marijuana possessions was 1,500, I believe, were put in jail. There's a real famous story. Actually, I can't remember the guy's name, but he actually was wrongfully convicted for marijuana possession. He was put in jail and his life was ruined thanks to Kamala Harris. And he tells a story about how she went to his court date on the day he was sentenced, and she was literally there to relish in the fact that she sent this man to jail. Another guy said, black men don't need your pity. They are capable human beings that don't need handouts. We had a black man as president. It's insulting to insinuate they need help to be successful. As an actual black man, I don't need an agenda just for us. A great economy helps black men. Equal access and affordable prices to buy a home helps black men. Reeling in the healthcare and pharma industry so medical prices aren't outrageous helps black men. Whether these blind brothers or know it or not, ensuring women's rights and their autonomy over their body also helps black men. Please don't feel the need to give sound bites. The ones who know, we know the struggle to get here. We hear the voices so many before us and are not distracted by social media and modern day fools. I thought that was an awesome comment. Okay. All right, so let me show you, just because I like to be fair, I'm going to take you to the Trump Platinum Plan, because if you guys didn't know that Trump had a plan also for not black men, but black people. This was more targeted towards the black as a whole, the community. He came up with this Platinum Plan, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I believe this kind of came out towards the end also of his run. Okay. So, to be fair, he dropped this kind of close to election time, I believe. Okay. I'm not sure. Okay. So here is what President Trump at that time had promised black individuals. Ooh, why is it so big? Okay. Promised President Trump's promise to Black America over 4 years. Okay. So this is one thing I like about Trump. He puts a timeline on stuff. Okay. He tells you, this is what I'm promising you, and I'm going to make it happen in this timeline. Okay. Except for putting Hillary in jail. That never happened. And I want to know why. Anyways, he said, increase access to capital in black communities by almost $500 billion. That was like the main purpose of the Trump Platinum Plan. He had a plan to create 3 million new jobs for the black community, creating 500,000 new black-owned businesses, increase access to capital in black communities by almost 500 billion, safe urban neighborhoods with highest policing standards, commit to working on a Second Step Act, access to better education and job training opportunities, and give black churches the ability to compete for federal resources for their community, bring better and tailored healthcare to address historic disparities, immigration policy that protects American jobs. That one actually applies to everybody. Advance home ownership opportunities and enhance financial literacy in the black community. Onshoring manufacturing to advance jobs and develop opportunities for black-owned businesses. Now, again, I'm going to also put this in the somewhat pandering to people category. However, what I will say is, at the very least, this was not insulting. I really feel like the other one was literally insulting. Okay. And you guys can let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments, but that's just my opinion. I think that, again, this is a desperate move on her part. I don't like, who knows what else they're going to come out. I joked at the beginning of the show that they're going to start giving away sneakers and and whatnot. I'm surprised that in the comments I didn't see Black women going, well, what are you going to give us? You know, that they were like, how come you're leaving us out of it? You know, at the end of the day, and again, I don't have the statistic pulled up on this. I'm not even going to try to do it right now. At the end of the day, I think we can all agree it's a well-known fact that there is a disparity in the sense of fatherless homes in the Black community. I'm not saying across the board that is the case. I know many Black homes that have the mother and the father with the kids there, and that is amazing. But last I saw a statistic, there was a disparity with fatherless homes in the Black community. And I think that, you know, working on that would really help all the other things that either one of these candidates would be making a promise on to the community. So if there's something that needs to be worked on, it should be that. And they can start with doing away with groups like Black Lives Matter, who literally had an agenda on their website that said dismantle the nuclear family. Okay. That was literally an agenda item on the Black Lives Matter website, was to dismantle the nuclear family. So that's basically take the father out of the home. Okay. Break it up. Okay. So, you know, let's work on that. Let's not reward women for being single mothers. Okay. And I'm not saying there's not white single mothers, but let's not reward women for that. Let's not glorify being a single mother. Let's shame that. Let's make that if you can help it, okay, that you're not raising a child without a man in the home. Let's work on that. Like if candidates came out with plans on that, I would be impressed, you know? Anyways, okay, so I would say I'm going to quickly go over this, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's a little lengthy, but I am going to try to go through it as quickly as possible. Okay, so I did these slides so that you guys can see, and actually, let me kind of close out some of this stuff. Sorry. We'll have to talk about the Tim Walz allegations another day, because Soonie has some thoughts on that, and I don't want to like go too far and not, you know, keep her involved in the discussion. Okay, so this is what I have right here. So again, this is my slides that I'm putting together on the comparison between Trump's tax plan and Kamala's tax plan. Now, what's important to know is the taxes that we're currently functioning under are still President Trump's tax laws. Okay. The reason why none of us are really feeling the benefit of that is because of inflation. Okay. Things are more expensive. And that's what's going to impact that. But if you have low inflation and you have a great tax plan, it all works great. And I'm going to show you how that works. So this is basically, going to explain all that. Okay. So what we have, why is it not progressing? Okay. So currently the standard deductions are as follows. So currently for a single taxpayer, you get a $14,600 tax deduction. So when you do your taxes, this is the standard for singles, and then $29,200 is the standard for married taxpayers. So unless you're somebody that, keeps track of your deductions and you just choose like to take the standard deduction that the federal government offers, this is what it is. Okay. This is what they're giving you as far as a deduction. Now, the future, once the Trump tax plan expires, okay, it's going to go down. Okay, so this is important to know that the current is what Trump set in place, but that expires this year. Okay, so unless the Democrats renew that plan or President Trump comes back into office, he's already said he's going to renew this plan. This is what it's going to look like, this far right column. Okay, single taxpayers are only going to have a tax deduction of $7,000, $7,300. Married couples are only going to have a deduction of $14,600. Okay, so that's going to be a decrease in your deduction. So basically, if it's a 20% QBI tax deduction, $100,000 business income, that would give you $80,000 of taxable income. Okay. Now, right now, it's 20,000. It's a big difference. Okay. As far as individual income tax rate, it is at 2.6%. I'm sorry, the current tax rate is 37%. Once the Trump tax plan expires this year, unless he becomes president, you will see an increase of your individual income tax rate go up to 39.6%. Okay. So you'll be paying an extra $2,600 in taxes. This apply, and by the way, these plans have no color lines. These are for everybody. Okay. Things like bonus depreciation, okay, would expire. So that basically means that, like, if you had an investment property or you had a business, these are things that you would typically be able to write off with your business, whether it be equipment, machinery, a vehicle, that would expire. You wouldn't be able to do that, okay, if you had a business and you're doing that now. That I don't know that would completely disappear, but it would definitely change, okay? So as far as an opportunity economy goes, Kamala Harris, that's what she's calling it, the opportunity economy. This is what she is proposing for her tax plan. So she's proposing tax cuts for new businesses, tax cuts for first-time homeowners, tax cuts for families with newborn children, and tax cuts for low-income individuals. So this is why I wanted to show you guys this and put this together so that you guys could understand what this means. So we're going to deep dive on hers, and then we're going to deep dive into Trump's and kind of show a comparison. So some of these, Kamala doesn't have a plan on some of these things, and some of these, Trump doesn't have a plan on some of these things. Now, but I want to keep reiterating to you that the current tax plan that we are going through is what Trump set in place before he left office, okay? So Kamala says that no one earning less than $400,000 per year would pay more taxes. Okay. So basically, you're not going to feel, according to her, any tax increase if you earn less than $400,000. Okay. This I put a permanent over because this is what Trump is wanting to renew if he gets back into office. And this is what you're experiencing right now. So currently, the tax cuts under the Trump tax plan that we are all under right now until the end of the year is corporate income tax. They pay less. Tax cuts for individual tax rate, tax cuts for depreciation deduction, and a 20% QBI deduction. So that's like your business deductions. Okay. So tax plan for new business owners. Okay. So over 70 million Americans earn a small business. Okay. So this, I know a lot of friends that this is what interests them, is how this is going to help small businesses. Okay. So right now, this is the current tax law for new business owners. Okay. So understand that what I'm talking about is only going to impact new business owners. Okay. So right now, you get up to $5,000 startup cost deductions. Okay. So anything that you had to spend to start up your business, you could deduct up to $5,000. And then, like, anything that exceeded that, you would basically have to deduct over the course of the year. So, like, let's just say, and I use the $50,000 because Kamala Harris is promising a $50,000 startup deduction. Okay. So I'm using $50,000. So let's just say it costs $50,000 to start up a small business. This is how it would work. So the first year under the current plan, you would deduct $5,000, and then you would have to spread your deductions over the next 10 years. Okay. So that's how it currently works. And I really want to suggest to you, Chad Jackson, he made a really good video because he is a small business owner. He owns a plumbing business, and he talked specifically about Kamala saying that nobody can start a small business with $5,000. I started a business with less than $5,000. In fact, I like to say I started it with no money at all. I just literally like advertise services, but not everybody has that situation. But he has a plumbing business and he started it for well under $5,000. In fact, I think he started it for under $2,000. So it is possible to do. But I just want to make sure to outline that. Okay. So like I said, the current tax law right now, your startup cost deductions are $5,000. Kamala Harris is proposing $50,000 startup cost deductions for new business owners. Okay. So if you already have a business established, this does not apply to you. Has to be a new business. Okay. Trump, I put here, he does not have a proposed tax plan for new business owners because this is the current one that he already created and we are already under. So he has yet to say whether he is going to make any changes to this or if it's just going to remain the same. Okay. So now let's talk about current business owners. These are people that already have established businesses. Okay. So according to PayScale, the average business owner earns $73,000 average base salary per year. Okay. So that's the average income of a small business owner. Okay. Under Donald Trump's tax plan for current small business owners, he is again proposing a 20% QBI tax deduction, granting a 20% tax deduction for bonus depreciation. He is for write-offs up to 100% of business assets, which is amazing. Which basically means you can write off everything that you use for your business. Okay. Work opportunity tax credit grants a tax credit for hiring certain types of people. So that would be like convicted felons, disabled people, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So that's Trump's current small business owner plan. Okay. So here's where Trump and Kamala actually agree on something. Now it's a little bit funnier than that, but they have the same plan. Okay. Tip income. Okay. So Trump was the first one to come out with this. Okay. He came out with this very early on. He said, when I become president, I am going to eliminate tip income from taxes, meaning if you are a waitress or somebody that works on tips, you will not have your tip income taxed. Okay. Well, then Kamala came out and she said, well, I'm going to do the same thing. Okay. But let's look at this a little bit deeper. Okay. Trump's plan is also exempting overtime wages from taxes. So that means that if you are somebody who works overtime, like a nurse, maybe somebody in construction, you're hourly, but you know, somebody who, a flight attendant, right? And you work overtime, your overtime wages would not be subject to income tax. So that's really, really a big deal because as you know, once you go into overtime, you're at time and a half, you're making more money. And a lot of people are like, why do I even want to work overtime when the government's going to come in and take half of what I made and worked, you know, extra time to make, and they're going to take it in taxes. So I think that's an excellent thing that Trump is saying, you, under my plan, your overtime is not going to be taxed. Okay. That's going to encourage people to work, right? Because like, why would you want to work more if you're not even going to keep the money you're working for? That makes no sense. Okay. Tax plan for exempting overtime wages from taxes. Overtime wages would not be subject to income tax under Trump. Like I just said, Kamala has no proposed tax plan for this at this time. Okay. Now let's talk about tax plan for Social Security. Okay. The way Social Security is paid is it's taxed from your W-2 income or self-employment tax, and that's what goes into your Social Security. Okay, so tax plan is as follows. Income for single tax filers, they earn over $25,000, their Social Security benefit tax rate would be at 50%. If they earn over $34,000, their Social Security benefit tax rate would be at 85%. Okay. So the more money you make, the more your Social Security benefit is taxed. Okay. So under Trump's Social Security plan, Social Security benefits would be exempt from taxes. Okay. So that's another great thing because your Social Security benefits, the check, Judy, if you're still in here, this is something for you. that means that the money that you get in Social Security would be completely exempt from taxes, which is amazing. Kamala does not have a plan for this as of yet. Okay. Kamala Harris's tax plan for new incentive for first-time home buyers. Okay. First-time home buyers. Okay. She is proposing a $25,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers. I want to stress the word credit, which means after you pay it up front, you will then check a box on your taxes, and that $25,000 tax credit will be added back into your taxes at the end of the year. Okay. So that means that you have to have that money up front to pay for it. Okay. If it's even 25,000, it could be more than 25,000, but only up to $25,000 will be credited to you. Okay. Specifically, I wanted to highlight in the plan, it says, as more new homes are built and affordable housing supply increases, Vice President Harris will provide first-time home buyers with up to $25,000 to help their down payments, with more generous support for first-generation homeowners. Okay. So that means that like nobody in your family has ever owned a property before. Now, who do you think that that's going to benefit? It's probably going to benefit the immigrants, okay, more than anybody. I'm not saying it's not going to benefit anybody, but it's probably going to benefit immigrants more because there's not going to be a record of anybody in the United States before them that is buying a home, okay? All right. So as I said, her plan is $25,000 tax credit for first-generation home buyers and $10,000 for first-generation home buyer support. Okay. So maybe as low as 10,000, as high as 25,000, I'm assuming. Again, we got to look into the details on that one. Trump does not have at this time a proposed tax plan on that. But we'll keep you posted. Okay. So Donald Trump's tax plan for real estate investors. Okay. Now I'm not a real estate investor, so forgive me if I'm messing this up in any way. I just pulled this information. But he has a 20% QBI tax deduction. Like I said, write-offs up to 100% of business assets, and swap one property for another without paying taxes. Okay. So that means like you sell a property and then you immediately turn around and put the money back into the property, into another property, and you would not pay taxes on that money. Okay. So that's pretty cut and dry right there. Tax plan for child tax credit. Okay. So right now, the current tax law is $2,000 per child for qualifying taxpayers. Kamala Harris is proposing $6,000 tax for under 1 year of age. So $6,000 for 1 year and under, $3,600 under the age of 6, $3,000 for older children. Okay. Trump has come back and he has said, I am going to up the amount to $5,000 per child, regardless of age. So basically, if they are a dependent, it does not matter what the age is. Trump's tax credit is coming in at $5,000. Okay. So that's pretty interesting. He's kind of like meeting in the middle on that one. But again, it depends on which one would work better for you. Okay. All right, let's talk about earned income tax credit. Earned income tax credit provides a tax credit to people who earn less than $60,000 per year and income. Okay. So basically you get a tax credit if you are below $60,000 per year, you get a certain percentage. Okay. This is just telling you kind of like what it is currently. If you have qualifying children and your income was $18,591 single, $25,511 if married, and filing a joint return, your maximum credit would be $632. If you're at the max of that, your maximum credit is going to be $7,830. That's what it is right now. Okay. The current plan, $632 for qualifying individuals with no children. Kamala is proposing a $1,500 $1,500 for qualifying individuals with no children. Okay. Trump does not have a proposed tax plan on this as of yet. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Just go ahead and put them in the chat box. But if this is helpful to any of you and you're enjoying this, let me know. Okay. Tax plan for new capital gains taxes. Okay. So capital gains is when you sell the selling price of an asset minus the purchase price of an asset equals capital gains. Okay. So those are subject to taxes. Okay. This again is a 2024 tax bracket, kind of showing you how that works. If you're in the following tax bracket, up to $11,600, and you're an individual, or $23,200 for married, you would pay 0% in capital gains tax. But obviously, as the amount of income or whatever your situation is, whether you're an individual or married, your capital gains tax goes up. Okay. So Kamala Harris is proposing a 28% for taxpayers earning more than $1 million per year in income. So she wants to tax capital gains at 28%. Okay. So that's higher than it's been this year. Okay. Just so you know. So she wants to increase the capital gains tax if you earn more than $1 million per year in income. Okay. So as an example, you earn $1 million. Your proposed tax increase is 8%. So you're going to pay an additional $80,000 in taxes. For Trump's plan, he has it lower at 15%. So proposed long-term capital gains rate. Okay. And let me see what it was before. So it's actually right here in the middle, which is nice. So I think that's a good thing for people that have assets that they, sell and purchase. Basically what you have left over, that's what they're talking about getting taxed. Okay. Unrealized capital gains tax. Okay. So unrealized capital gains tax is basically, I guess the easiest way to put it is an estimate of capital gain. So it's not actually something that's happened yet, but they're estimating what it's going to be. Okay. So under Kamala Harris's tax plan for unrealized capital gains tax, you'll be required to pay effective tax rate of 25% on unrealized capital gains tax. Okay. So she wants to tax people for capital gains. Trump does not have a proposed plan on unrealized capital gains tax. So that doesn't necessarily mean that he won't, but right now he's saying, I don't have any plans on taxing unrealized capital gains. To me, that sounds ridiculous. Let's talk about tariffs. So tariffs is a big thing with people because there's been a lot of discussion. Some people are very much for the tariffs and some people are not for the tariffs. And basically, tariffs are a tax. Okay. Universal tariffs in this case are a tax that Trump is proposing to put on companies, people who make products, who take their business overseas and they want to, go over there for cheaper labor instead of making it here in the United States. Trump has basically said, I'm going to tax you up the wazoo in hopes that you change your mind and you have manufacturing companies do that work here so that we get the money. Now, why this is a very important topic is because this essentially is how Trump is going to pay for everything that he wants to do. Okay. So I do want to highlight that the difference between Trump and Kamala's tax plan is Trump is very clear that he is going to pay for all this by universal tariffs. Okay. He's going to tax people, penalize people for taking their business to another country so that he can afford to pay for all these other tax programs. Kamala does not have a plan as of yet, or she has not said how she plans to pay for all this free that she's giving out. Remember, we were talking about the Black opportunity agenda, I kept saying, how is this stuff going to be paid for? Right. So, like I said, Trump's proposing a 10 to 20% tariff rate and up to 60% tariff rate on imports from China. Okay. So if again, you need a more detailed, simplistic illustration of what a tariff is, it is a tax that is assessed on goods that get made in another country and come back to the US. Okay. All right. Tax plan for corporate individual income taxes. Okay. So tax plan for corporate tax rate. The current plan is 21%. Trump basically is saying, if you produce your products in the US, I'm going to tax your corporation at 15%. And other corporations, maybe larger ones, will get taxed at 20%. Kamala is proposing a 28% tax rate on a corporate to corporations. Okay. So she's going to tax corporations more. Now, what that's going to do, just so you know, is she's not trying to stop corporations from making products overseas and then bringing them back to the US to sell them. She's only going to tax corporations more money. Okay. So where that's going to fall on is going to be on the people that actually work for the corporation, work for the business. Okay. In order to pay for that high tax, they're going to have to cut jobs. They're going to have to maybe cut process, which is going to impact quality, right? They may even have to move their business altogether outside of the United States because they won't be able to afford to run their business in the United States. So in my opinion, Kamala Harris's corporate tax plan is really going to hurt our economy in a lot of ways because it's going to take jobs from us, right? Because corporations are going to be left with two choices. They either have to fire people to make up for the money that they're going to have to pay in taxes, or they're going to have to take their business elsewhere. Trump's plan is basically saying, hey, business, guess what? I'm going to actually incentivize you to bring all the business back to the United States, creating jobs and creating a flourishing economy versus taking it to another country and making their economy great and then charging our people double the price because we have to like bring all this shit back. And then the quality goes down. Okay. So in my opinion, that's just my opinion. I think that Trump's corporate tax rate is excellent. So what it's going to look like at the end of 2025, right now we're paying 37% for this. Trump's proposing, this is our tax rate, individual tax rate. So right now, as an individual, this is only till the end of the year. That, and I put at the end of 2025, it's the end of 2024. We are at a 37% individual tax rate. Trump wants to keep it that way. That was his plan. He wants to renew that. Kamala Harris wants to raise your individual tax rate to 39%. Okay. So I didn't see a whole lot of comments while I was giving this presentation, but I hope you guys found that useful, that it made sense to you, and that maybe it helped you weigh, what you think about either candidate and their tax plan. I think the tax plan is probably one of the most important things. I think people are really going to understand how important when the current tax plan, the Trump tax cuts expire at the end of the year. It's going to be a big deal. But anyways, I will definitely update that as the candidates come out with new information. I'll definitely update that. I have that saved so we can come back to that. But I thank you guys so much for sticking through the show with me. I know Soonie wasn't here and we didn't get to some of the topics, but we will possibly be coming back tomorrow to live stream the Trump town hall and do a live reaction to that. So stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok, follow us on Facebook, and we'll definitely be posting if we do plan on doing a show tomorrow and you guys can come out and join us. That would be great. So you guys have a fantastic rest of your evening. Thank you again for joining us. Come back and check us out for sure next Tuesday, because we do a show every Tuesday, and possibly tomorrow for the Trump town hall. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Patriotic summer, high school margaritas just to cool you off. But it's so hot, these clothes are falling off. Patriotic